Montrell Coley was the man, rushing for 163 yards and scoring the game winner as the Pirates escaped with a tough overtime win. Meanwhile, it was a record-setting day in Dover as Rashawn Matthews and Darnerian McCants connected for 5 touchdowns to lead the comeback. Hampton visits Delaware State, and the Hornets look to make a big leap.
It's MEAC College Football Saturday, coming to you from Dover, Delaware, Delaware State University, as the Hornets host the Pirates of Hampton University. And the flavor and the bands are playing, and this will be a game that will have everyone pumped. 2 schools that are trying to find their identities in the MEAC this Saturday. Hello, everybody. I'm Ronnie Duncan, and once again, we welcome you to MEAC College Football Saturday, and we indeed have an exciting game for you. 2 teams trying to decide who is the contender and the pretender in the MEAC. One guy who I know is for real, and he's a player. I'm talking Mark Gray. He's our color analyst on MEAC College Football Saturday.
Well, when you look at a game like this, you talk about contenders and pretenders. It's an opportunity for Delaware State to get back to where they were in the mid-'80s when I was in school, frankly, amongst the conference's elite. As far as Hampton is concerned, they're there. This is a team that has tested themselves against tough competition already, so they feel that they're in their rightful place. This should be an interesting afternoon.
What about Montrell Coley? When you speak of the Heritage Bowl champions of 1999, number 4 can score.
The thing I like about Montrell Coley is the fact that this guy makes defenders pay for tackling him, and then if he gets into the secondary like he did on this 70-yard touchdown run last week in the slump at Hampton, he can put the defenders away. This kid has the whole package. Power, speed, can get to the outside, runs between the tackles. If he rushes for 100 yards, it could be a good day for HU.
You know what? He was a 1,000-yard rusher sophomore season, nearly 900 yards last season, and he's off to a great start. But when you speak of the Delaware State Hornets, all you have to do is talk about number 5, Darnerian McCants. He is big in size, and he is big on the scoreboard.
6'4", 215 pounds. He can get by defenders. He can also climb the ladder as he did to make the key touchdown catch in last week's contest. He can do it all. I like the fact that he makes big plays, much like a Randy Moss in the NFL. He can go down. He makes smaller defensive back pay. He makes, guys coming across the middle pay. I tell you, he's got the whole package. He could have a big game this afternoon.
He's huge. Last week he had 5 touchdowns, and he had 3 1/4. But when you speak of the quarterbacks in this game, it's about the cash money. I'm talking about Hampton's Mr. Octavius Cash.
Hampton's offense hasn't missed a beat simply because they have Octavius Cash, who's more dangerous with his legs than he has been with his arm to this point in the season. You just wonder when will this kid break out with his passing attack, because Hampton has some very talented skill players as well.
And, of course, there's a lefty on the other side for the Delaware State Hornets, Rashawn Matthews.
Boy, this guy is a prototype drop-back passer. I mean, he gets outside the pocket, as we see down here, connecting with the all-time leading receiver in DSU history, Albert Horsey. I mean, the lefty can really throw all the passes. Tight spirals, crossing patterns, deep outs. He's got the whole package. I tell you, the clash of the offensive schemes. The ground game of Hampton and the passing game of Del State.
Now, our U.S. Airways quarterback comparison, as you see, Cash is on the money. However, he has 4 interceptions this year. But look at that. Matthews, 13 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He has been a huge player. We're going to have a great game. You stand by. We'll find out who the contenders or the pretenders are, and our MEAC College Football Saturday game coming up next.
College Football Saturday. I'm George Johnson. Joining me right now is Ben Blacknall, the head coach of Delaware State. I would assume that the word now is momentum. After coming off that victory last week, how do you keep this team rolling?
Well, George, I hope so. We talked to the kids about the importance of this game. It's a conference game. It's a home game. So, and we got a bunch of good group of seniors that we're playing with. So we got a lot to play for.
Hampton, no secrets. They like to come at you. They play that smash mouth football. What do you expect from your club against this team?
Well, we got to stand up and be accounted for. You know, they have an excellent program, and we got to win some of those battles in the trenches.
Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck to you today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Ben Blacknall, the head coach at Delaware State. Let's go back up to the booth with Ron and Mark.
All right, thanks a lot, George Johnson. We appreciate it. It has been Del State winning the coin toss. They have elected to receive, and kicking for Hampton is Tellis Boulding, set to receive in the backfield. Number 21 for the Del State Hornets, Deshane Dennis. And we're underway live from Dover, Delaware, as the Hornets take on the Pirates. That was Richard Mason finally on the ball. And now it is time for our U.S. Postal Service starting lineups for the offense of Delaware State. And there's their fine coach, Ben Blacknall, who's in his first season. He's got this team at 2-2. You see number 79, Jamal Jackson, the left tackle. He was one of the top offensive linemen in the MEAC last week. And then you see Haney, Hoggett, Howard, and Smith. Looking at the other part of that lineup, you talk about a core of receivers, and you've got Mr. Tommy Mims, along with Albert Horsey and Denarian McCants. And then you've got the running back and fullback, Braylon King and William Ross.
Mims looking to make history here at Delaware State. He and Horsey could become the most prolific tandem in school history by the end of the afternoon.
And that was not a gain, that was a loss. And on the carry for the Del State Hornets, they have so many fine people, but that was William Ross. Now it's time to take a look at the defensive starting lineups for the Hampton University Pirates. And you see Michael Brand. This young man can play defensive tackle. He is all of that. And then when you look at that secondary, they are huge and they are big and they can get a lot done. And I speak of the Hampton University Pirates. Second down, Matthews with the ball. Matthew finds a receiver, and that's Tommy Mims. A first down, Del State.
Well, Mims, who needed 5 catches coming in to move into second place all time, has it already down to 4 with a nice little safe quarterback-friendly route to get Matthews going.
Let's take a look at our USPS starting defensive lineups in that secondary. Dwayne Little, you see Mr. Kaysen and Tremaine Hughes. Those are some fellas that are some big-time linebackers, and they don't stop there. Hampton, they've got a defensive secondary that will get after you. Vincent Lewis, number 19, caught 3 interceptions in the Heritage Bowl a year ago. And once again, it's Albert Horsey, a fine receiver, and another first down for the Del State Hornets. Matthews appears to have everything going for him right now, and the numbers say he's one of the best in the MEAC this season.
He's over a 50% passer, and as you've just seen on the last couple of passing plays, he comes to the weak side with a short, strong arm pass. Then he goes back to the strong side with a tight spiral, with some mustard on it. So you get an idea of what this kid can do with his arm strength.
They ruled that an incompletion. That'll make it 2nd and 10. Ball on the 46-yard line. Lone backfield. Braylon King. Matthews under center. The give is to King. King still on his feet. And that was William Ross. Check on that. And he was close to a first down.
Boy, I tell you, he just took a shot, then delivered one, and kept on going after the initial contact to, if he didn't pick up the first down, it's going to be awful close. This is a great job of quarterbacksmanship by Matthews, who comes out on the option, and when you're a drop-back passer, it's hard to really get into the flow of running the option. He pitches at the last minute, the back gets it and carries it down for about a 9-yard gain.
Versatility is the key. You've just joined us. It's Hampton and Delaware State. MEAC College Football Saturday. You've got King and Ross in the backfield. The quarterback, Matthews.
And Hampton jumps offside. That's just the aggressive nature of the Pirates' defensive front. Arguably the most active and aggressive consistently in the league. I think they might have jumped offsides.
Leading the way was defensive tackle number 90, Brandon Yarber, that is.
And that is a first mental mistake for Hampton, and the chains will move for Delaware State. So a rather auspicious beginning to this drive, Ronnie. You know, a couple of passing plays that worked. They were able to mix in a option play, and now Hampton jumps off sides.
Here are your game officials: Jerome Bogner, Johnny Forte. You've got Ralph Friedman and Merle Eason, Willie Robinson, Ron Taylor, and Michael Carter, the very best coming out of the MEAC this Saturday, calling the game. Matthews looking for a receiver. He finds one. William Ross across the 20-yard line, and there's a flag on the play. Look for a face mask on that one. The Pirates defense was there, but maybe they were doing too much of the funky stuff to make it happen.
Yeah, I think Rashad Muhi might have gotten an inadvertent face mask, but this is just, you know, great offensive play calling right now by coordinator Jeff Braxton. He's got Hampton confused just a little bit. This is just a safe little screen pass, and he lets his back do his work to carry the ball on into the Pirates secondary, and they may pick up a couple of more yards on top of this one. This will be a
foul, face mask on the defense. Has to get to the goal line. First down.
Well, we called it right away. That was the face mask, and this has been an impressive drive thus far for the Delaware State Hornets. Ben Blacknall, I spoke with him before the game, and I said, Coach, you've got to be impressed with what we've been doing so far. He said, Ronnie, we can get even better. Better make it 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Matthews is your quarterback. The backfield consists of William Ross and Graylin King, number 22. And look in the red zone. They are hot, the Delaware State Hornets. Look at that. 10 opportunities and 8 touchdowns. That's not bad. They were 4 for 4 last week against Liberty.
Not bad. I mean, I think you look at any coach in the conference or any coach on any level in America, if you get inside the red zone 10 times and you put up 8 touchdowns, he's going to feel real good about his offense. And, you know, I like the intricacies of what they're doing with this wing tee. It's not your conventional wing tee, Hindover. It's called the wings and things, and they do a lot of different offensive things out of this wing tee formation.
Right now, they're only 5 yards away from pay dirt. That's touchdown territory. In the backfield, Graylin King. Your quarterback is Lasan Matthews. Matthews with the give. The give is to William Ross. William Ross stopped it around the 1-yard line. And it looks like the Hornets are smelling touchdown coming up.
And they're trying to win it. The battle in the trenches that Coach Blacknall was talking about. Look, it's just your basic sweep coming around to the far side. And Ross just runs into a corner who stepped up and saved the touchdown in that particular situation, Ronnie. Boy, if it hadn't been for Omar Harris stepping up and turning that play back inside, it would have been 6.
What's impressive about this, Mark, is that in our pregame, we talked so much about the receivers and of course, McCants. However, it's the running game that has got things going so far with William Ross and Graylin King.
It's been a nice mix, and the backs have also been a part of the passing attack. So right now, I guess you could say DSU's offense has Hampton's defense a little bit off balance.
Touchdown for the Del State Hornets. 1 yard to William Ross for Matthews.
Indeed, this is just great offensive play calling. I don't know if this was a scripted drive, but it worked to perfection. They rolled to the far side with a sweep on the previous play, and they came back to the near side with a short passing play, and it leads to 6. And you couldn't ask for a better way for Delaware State to come out on their first drive in a game where they're trying to step up into the next level amongst the conference's elite. You couldn't have drawn up a better drive than this.
Kicking for the field goal, Aaron Quinn, and the point after is good. And there's your quarterback, the young man who spearheaded that drive, Rasan Matthews. It is now 7-0 Del State on top of Hampton, MEAC College Football Saturday. Hornet fans are very happy. Shake that groove thing. 7-0. They have the lead. Let's take a look at that touchdown one more time. A 1-yard pass from Rasan Matthews, and watch him under pressure mark, but he still finds William Ross in the end zone.
It's a play action fake to Tommy Mims. It holds the linebackers inside, and then he's able to find his receiver in the flat for a short touchdown reception, and a great start to a big game here in Dover for the Hornets.
All right. Hampton, of course, receiving after Delaware State kicked off after that score. And the ball will be somewhere at around about the, let's say, maybe the 40-yard line mark.
Well, just to follow up on Matthews' last touchdown, something that doesn't please Hampton University coach Joe Taylor. That was his 56th career touchdown pass, which ties him now for 3rd in MEAC history.
All right, Coach Joe Taylor, time to take a look at our United States Postal Service starting offensive lineup for the Hampton Pirates, and they are tough up front and with some talent in the back. We'll get to that in just a second. First series on offense for the Hampton Pirates, and Octavius Cash is your quarterback. The give hand to Montreal Coley. Coley across the 40-yard line, but he stopped, and he may be just at around the 39. Now it's time for our United States Postal Service starting lineups, and as you can see, Forbes is there, but look at James McCall, the right tackle. They say the NFL will be knocking at his door sometime soon. Larry Vaughn is also there at the right guard, and Leon Fields is your center. Then you've got Norman Clement. That's the young man that's going to open up the holes for Montreal Coley. Michael Compton, a fine wide receiver, and a young man who came on the end of the season, Zuriel Smith. And, of course, Mr. Cash is your quarterback, a junior who had to fill in the spot for Roy Johnson. And he can go, and you see him right there with the pass, and he finds, of course, his tight end over the middle. Once again, Cash is on the money, and he finds the rookie, David Blunt.
Blunt does a good job of helping his quarterback out, and Cash, those are his numbers from this season coming into this contest, 4 TDs and 4 INTs. So that's not the kind of ratio that makes quarterbacks coach happy, but you keep calling those safe, quarterback-friendly type of plays, and that percentage is definitely going to improve.
All right, that'll make it a first down. Ball on the 47-yard line for the Hampton Pirates. Joe Taylor has his first 15 plays scripted. He's got the way, like the way things are looking right there. And that time, Norman Clement was met, and he was hurt by the starting defense of the Delaware State Hornets. David Hughes Carter and Brandon Yarber, look out for him. Greg Jackson is also a good one. Zachary Dunn, a fine linebacker. He leads that core, but when you look at that secondary, Shane Dennis is the man. Richard Mason, and there is Darlington and Stephen Brown.
Delaware State is openly concerned about their corners who've been, shall we say, inconsistent to say the least through the first month or 3 weeks or so of the season to this point.
2nd and 11. Cash finds a receiver over across the middle, and that was Zuriel Smith. I spoke of him, and Smith is about 2 yards short of a first down, and once again, Cash was on the money.
Well, this is just a safe route. It's a square in coming from the short side, and Cash just steps in the pocket, delivers a strike across the middle, and it's nothing fancy about that route. Stephen Brown just is giving too much ground to the receiver. He's going to have to step up and get a good chuck on him inside the 5-yard zone, or that play is going to be there all afternoon. That's a staple play of the Hampton passing attack for many, many years.
Once again, Hampton, the 1999 Heritage Bowl champions. Coach Joe Taylor, always a winner. 2-time conference champs back in 97 and 98. And that pass was completed, but it was ruled out of bounds for Zuriel Smith.
Smith had a step on Shane Dennis, but the ball hung out there too long, and he wasn't able to haul it in. So Delaware State, defense frustrates Hampton offense in their territory, and now the Hornets have a little bit of momentum. We saw a couple of weeks ago they weren't able to handle that. It's pretty good coverage, using the sideline as a second defender, so effectively Smith was double-teamed by the sideline.
Ellis Bolden is your punter. And that looks like a pretty decent punt. It's going to land inside the 5-yard line, right around the 5. Tellis Bolden had to be happy with that one. It is still 7-0. The Delaware State Hornets leading the Hampton Pirates, and much of a surprise on a Saturday afternoon for MEAC College Football Saturday. But the offensive unit is now back on the field, and the first time out, they march down the field. Matthews leading the way.
Well, I know Coach Blacknall would like to get a little bit more consistency out of his running attack on this second series, but he's got a significant height advantage outside, so if he puts Mims and Horsey or Darneri and McCants locked up one-on-one with anybody, I think they're going to have to start attacking a lot more vertically.
You know, Labor Day weekend, we came in here and watched Delaware State take on FAMU, and immediately after the game, Mark, you and I, our conversation centered around the fact this team is going to hurt some contenders in the MEAC this season. No longer are they pretenders. Del State is for real. And coming out of the backfield, that is Graylin King. He is stopped inside the 16-yard line. What a fine run, and that's another first down for Del State.
Well, Hampton's defense is not used to this. People just pushing them around at the point of attack, opening up holes, and then watch the power that Ross shows as he gets into the secondary, so another first down. Look at Hampton. As the season rolls along, Delaware State, that is, they seem to get better. They didn't have any sacks in the first game, and they lost both of them. Last 2 games, 11 sacks, 2 victories.
Mark, I appreciate that correction. That was William Ross, but this time it is Darnarian McCants, and he is inside the 20-yard line, somewhere around the 21, depending on where the ball is stopped, and the official stops it at the 20.
You know, if I'm Delaware State, I'd probably wear that play out all afternoon. I'm going to make their corners come up and play my big receivers all game long, and the slant patterns on those little quarterback routes, they become, I guess, manhood battles. You know, you're out there one-on-one against a cornerback, and who wants it more?
2nd and 5. Give up the middle, and you see him on his feet. And this time it is Graylin King. And Graylin King for a first down, and he stops somewhere around the 39-yard line.
That's just effort, but at the point of attack, Delaware State's offensive line is doing a tremendous job of manhandling the Hampton University defensive front. He just explodes, breaks a tackle here, and then he's off to the races. And watch this big-time stiff arm. Get off me, young fella. And on in for another 12 yards as Graylin King is beginning to make his mark on this game.
He's becoming the king of Dover, Delaware, if runs like that, number 22. And you know what? Coach Ben Blacknall has to be happy that his running game is finally taking an evolutionary stage in this football game.
Well, Blacknall is a disciple of Willie Jeffries, and Jeff likes to run.
This time with the ball was William Ross, and he was met by a gang tackles from Hampton. Where your boys at? Your boys were all on the tackle, and they were ready to put him down. Leading the way was linebacker number 99, Greg Scott.
So Matthews is being put into real good positions by the creative play calling of the offensive staff for Delaware State right now. Now, you've got Hampton set up to make a vertical attack right here. You've seen 2 run plays, and play action is available right now.
And here it is, first down situation. Delaware State 7, Hampton 1. Matthews with the ball, but he's got pressure, still on his feet. He's trying to get rid of the ball, but he just couldn't do so. And the reason why, the defense was all over the place. I speak of the Pirates defense.
Well, coming up through the middle in a bit of a blitz, it looked like that was senior defensive end Henry Cornell. Look, comes with a little stunt through the middle, and he's able to haul in a 6'4" quarterback. And look at this Hampton dominating defense from a week ago. Only giving up 1 first down via the passing game. They picked off 2 passes. They forced 11 fumbles, but a lot of that had to do with Mother Nature. And look, 11 penalties for 122 yards by a disciplined, older Southern Utah team.
3 wide receivers in the game. It is 3rd and 19. Matthews forced the pass. Matthews was looking for a receiver, Tommy Mims, across the middle, but the pass was too low.
Hampton does a good job in their zone-based defense. They showed blitz, dropped back into coverage, and took away the middle of the field that was open for a split second. So Hampton's defense does their job. They step up and sort of stem the tide of the momentum early on, and now it's back to the drawing board for Coach Blacknall.
Coach Blacknall wants that offense to get more confidence in itself. He and I talked about it at the beginning of the game. He said Ronnie McCants doesn't know how good he can actually be. He can be that much better. We'll see in this situation.
What's
coming is Aaron Quinn. And the Pirates are there to receive, and that was Travis Coleman.
Coleman needed 1 more block, and he takes it to the house. Now we better take it to break.
We'll do just that. MEAC College Football Saturday. We'll be back. They want to cheer their team on. Hampton is trailing Delaware State with 6:26 left to go in the first quarter, 7-0.
They have pumped me up.
And the flags have come out as you got pumped up. Montrell Coley was calling, and he was carrying the ball. Stop, the flags are there.
So the infraction is against Delaware State, and suddenly somebody must have lined up in the neutral zone.
Obviously, that's the situation. Ball is moved down to the 38-yard line. That will make it a 1st and 5 for Hampton University.
Now you got to start looking for Hampton to start running the football. This is Delaware State defense is basically near the bottom in rushing defense.
Cash looking into the end zone. The intended receiver was Zuriel Smith. Pass incomplete.
Well, that's one of those situations where Hampton probably wants to stretch the defense up. Been trying to make it a point to get your running attack going, and this time you take a shot deep. Huff had a step, had good inside position, but that was a touch pass. And that's probably the difference right there, Ronnie, between Roy Johnson and Cash. Johnson had incredible touch. He could thread the needle with frequency, and Cash is much better on the ground at this stage of his development.
Well, versatility is the key, and that's something that Coach Joe Taylor does like. In motion is Crompton. To give to Clement, and he's taken down, maybe a gain of a yard.
Boy, I tell you, Delaware State was in the huddle that time. They snuffed that sweep play out, and they were right there. Linebackers do a good job of playing off their blocks to take away the cutback lanes, so when he got back to the outside, there was nothing there for him. And this is where Hampton is oh so dangerous offensively on third down conversions at almost a 45% clip. That's almost unheard of.
Situation where the defense has to play honest because it is 3rd and short, 3rd and 3, ball on the 36-yard line. 7-0, the Hornets of Delaware State with the lead.
A little confusion on the defensive front for Dell.
Cash still with the football. Cash looking for the first down. And Cash gets the first down on the run. Once again, the versatility of Latavius Cash is paying off for the Pirates.
Gotta like the freelance ability of the quarterback getting outside. This basically looked like it was a busted play. It was confusion in the defensive front by Delaware State, but Hampton seemed like they were confused. Maybe Cash was supposed to give the ball to a back, or in many instances, Joe Taylor has a number of plays that are already designed like quarterback draws and quarterback sweeps that are designed specifically for Cash to take advantage of his ability to run. So we'll watch that develop as the flow of this game continues.
Crompton in motion. Pirates in the I formation to give to Clement. Clement turns the corner. Clement still on his feet. That is Montel Coley.
Boy, look at that footwork, boy.
Coley gets another first down.
Kid look like James Brown. I'm telling you. Watch this footwork right here. Look at him coming right at you. Look at this footwork. Watch these feet move. This is a move that would make Gregory Hines happy. Look at this. Tap dance kid on down, and he picks up a first down. A true workhorse. One of the all-time great backs in the history of this league, bar none.
Pirates in the I formation. They give to Montrell. Montrell still on his feet. Coley is stopped at around about the 12-yard line.
Coley is one of those kind of kids they talk about. He came to campus a little bit overweight this year, about 10 pounds overweight. But as much as he carries the ball, you would think that a guy comes in that much overweight is going to help him out as the season goes along. 36 carries last week in the slot. Still had enough Jets to rush for 70 yards and pick up the touchdown in overtime. So he is the proverbial workhorse. So I think by the end of the season, or middle of the season, nobody will remember that he was 10 pounds overweight at the start of camp.
Split backfield, Crompton in motion. Coley and Clement. The ball to Clement. Clement turning the corner. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. He's in the touchdown. It's all about the Pirates. 13-yard touchdown. Norman Clement.
Well, the old school heads will remember the days of the Green Bay Packers sweep. Well, Vince Lombardi talks about creating a seal and letting the back find an area or a lane to run into the end zone. That's exactly what happened for Mr. Clement. That was a textbook sweep that time, reminiscent of the USC student body right.
Well, he's a big guy to pull down. Clement weighs 260 pounds. Point after by Paul Pavlik is good, and we've got a tie ball game. It is Hampton and Del State 7-0, and I'm talking about a great game. MEAC College Football Saturday continues in just a moment. Conference that got together back in 1970. One of the best receivers ever to come out of the MEAC went to Del State. John Taylor, who later had prominence with the San Francisco 49ers and won numerous Super Bowl titles. We're back to live action, and as you can see, the coach is saying, let's get it going. 7-7, Delaware State and Hampton. Right now, The Hornets have the ball again on offense.
Well, you talked about, talented receivers as we take a look at the National Car Rental scoring drive.
And it went a little something like this. You see it, Mr. Cash running the football, showing his versatility, giving the ball to the running backs. Montrell Coley showing that he can keep his feet on balance. And then finally a 7-yard touchdown run by Norman Clement. Time, 6 minutes and 30 seconds, 6 plays. Not bad at all. Now with the football, 1st and 10 from the 23, it is Hassan Matthews. This time running the ball was Braylon King, but he was met by a host of tacklers for the Pirates defense, namely Michael Bland, number 96, in on the tackle. Michael Bland does a good job that time of playing off his block and getting to the back and making just a tremendous individual play. And you notice something? Delaware State picking up the pace of the offensive attack, not really trying to let Hampton get settled in to get their defensive plays called, much like we saw against Florida A&M a couple of weeks ago. They make a 2nd and 9, gain of just 1 yard. Matthews back to pass. Matthews pounds the receiver in his hands and out, and that was Tommy Mims. Wow, Mims had an opportunity to draw closer to the 2nd spot all-time in Delaware State history, and frankly, that's a catch that he's got to make. Nobody out there around him within 5 yards. Yeah, the pass was high, but there was not a cornerback in the area. Hate to sound like you, but I got to step up for the quarterback in this particular instance. You got to also ask the question whether or not Matthews has found his rhythm in this game. It seems at times he's on, at other times he's off. He wants to find his range to get Del State back on the scoreboard. Out of the shotgun formation, Matthews back to pass, and this time he finds Mims, and it is a gain. However, it is short of a 1st down. Now, see, that's just not a smart route by a senior. I mean, you got to know where the 1st down marker is. You've got to run your route and break it off in front of the cornerback and know that you've got the 1st down. So, yeah, that's a reception that pads the statistics, but it doesn't move the chains. Aaron Quinn is back to punt. This young man can put his foot into the ball. He's happy to be here at Del State. He says it's a great time, a great campus, and it's a great time to be in college. Year 2000, MEAC College Football 2000, and you're watching it tonight. Let's go down to George Johnson, our sideline reporter, who's one of the best in the nation.
Thanks very much, Ron. As I kind of go up and down here the sidelines with Delaware State, I watched the defense. The defense right now, in the first half, or in the first quarter, they felt very confident about the things that they were doing. They said that the defensive line was coming up with the plays, extending their arms, and thus being able to control the offensive line. But then in this last series against Hampton, there was confusion among the defensive line. And so what they've decided to do is keep it straight. No more stunts, no more shifting. Keep it as straight as possible against this Hampton offense and maybe put a stop to Montrell Coley and crew. Back up to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, George. We appreciate it. George will keep us posted on the sidelines. Montrell Coley with the football. Montrell Coley is breaking out a little something special. Montrell Coley at the 40. Montrell Coley still on his feet at the 20, at the 10, and finally brought down at around the 5-yard line. Montrell Coley breaking off the little something and making people break backs here, baby.
Boy, I tell you, the night train has left the station on a sweep right here. Watch this. A seal to the inside, and then once he gets around the corner, this is the 3rd gear that I was talking about, and he just outruns a member of the secondary who was able. If this was a tearaway jersey back in the day of Bear Bryant, he scores a touchdown. Where are the tearaway jerseys when you get to the secondary, Ryan?
What a big-time run. Ball on the 6-yard line. Montrell Coley. Montrell, if you can't do it, then who can? Cash is your quarterback. They give to Clement. Montrell Coley is sitting on the sideline to give what's to Norman Clement, and he gets inside the 5-yard line.
Well, maybe Delaware State's defensive front should go back to their confusion because they weren't giving up big run plays. But again, Delaware State's Achilles heel to this point in the season has been their run defense, ranked next to last. Only Morgan State is below them in the MEAC. And you see the dilemma that Coach Blacknall and his defensive staff face in terms of trying to shut down arguably the best running back in the conference right now in Montrell Coley.
Montrell Coley is something special. You know, a year ago, it was an injury-filled season. He gained nearly 900 yards. His sophomore season, over 1,000 yards. This young man wants to play on Sundays. And number 4, as we said at the beginning of the game, can score. You know, the halftime highlights had plenty of Mr. Montrell Coley.
Well, when you talk about Coley, this is a kid that was highly recruited out of high school. Mr. Football in the state of North Carolina when he finished high school. North Carolina wanted him. University of Tennessee pursued him. And all of a sudden, he ends up at Hampton. And they've been to postseason 3 years in a row.
You know, Coach says this is a young team, and he says he's got to find a way to get it done, Coach Willie Blackman.
Well, one thing about teams that haven't won big games in a while.
Was a commencement each year. 21 guys actually walked across stage and received their degrees. Certainly that's what they come for, and that's what we feel good about, and that's really happening. And that's positive. But on the back end of that, of course, a lot of experience walked across stage with them. Which means to us that there are going to be a lot of guys that are going to be asked to step up, the heir apparents, and to fill some big shoes.
That, of course, is Coach Joe Taylor talking about his young team. Montrell Coley trying to find the end zone, and he does. Touchdown for Coley, 4 yards, and he was the reason why the drive was alive, and that's why Hampton is on top now, 13-7.
Well, they went to the old tried-and-true one, Montrell Coley, and he delivered. He set up the touchdown, and it's only fitting that he scored because he had done all the work. He done a lot of work on the first drive and wasn't able to score, and now he's just one touchdown away from moving up on the Hampton all-time rush TDs list.
The point after is good by Paul Pavlik, and it is 14-7. The Pirates of Hampton University. HU takes the lead. The reason why, a huge run down inside the 10-yard line by Montrell Coley, and then he finishes off with the touchdown, number 4 in the end zone one more time with 6 on his side.
Well, Hampton University's offensive brain trust has found something on the left side of the Hornets defensive front. There's mass confusion, but again, they haven't been able to defend the sweep play to the far side. And as long as nobody is able to seal, either a linebacker or a corner is able to turn this play back to the inside, it could be a long afternoon for Delaware State. But one thing about Del State, this is a very powerful and explosive offense. They may not be able to win a track meet type of game against the likes of Florida A&M, but they might be able to score with a team like Hampton.
All right, Montrell Coley was the reason why a 70-yard run would set up everything. And there it is, your National Car Rental scoring drive, 3 plays, 1 minute and 5 seconds, a 4-yard touchdown run by Montrell Coley. Remember, green means go. With National Car Rental, call 1-800-CAR-RENT or book online at www.nationalcar.com. With the football still on his feet, William Ross. William Ross is still across the 40, cutting back to the 45. William Ross inside the 30-yard line and around the 31. Once again, don't leave the television because this game is full of excitement. I said contenders and pretenders. Everyone wants to make a believer out of you. Look at him again. In red, number 32, William Ross. Talk about cutbacks. Talk about dancing. You wanted James Brown. I think he likes Michael Jackson.
Well, you know, Hampton is doing a great job keeping the ball away from Deshane Dennis, arguably the most dangerous return man in the conference. But they forgot. You got to tackle a guy that gets the football. I mean, Ross and King have done work on both times where they've touched the balls in these special team situations this afternoon.
1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. The give was to Braylon King, and King gets about a yard on the play.
So once again, Delaware State is trying to establish on 1st down that they can consistently at least pick up positive yards, and they're running right in the teeth of the Hampton defensive front right now.
All right, we've got an exciting game, but we're going to come back with much more. I'm talking MEAC College Football Saturday. Up next. quarter, and if you're just joining us, you're in store for one heck of a football game. It is Hampton 14, Delaware State 7. There are those Delaware State cheerleaders. Yeah, the Hornets want to put the sting on, and they will start right now in the second quarter. Matthews with the football. Matthews has a receiver, and it is MEAC. See you later. It's a touchdown. Alvin Horsey, 28 yards, and it was all about Matthews, the Horsey, and he left the defender in the toast territory.
Well, I'm anxious to see. I hope we've got a ISO on him to see what kind of move he put on, because I tell you, he was 10 yards behind the defender when that ball was released, and the defender's only hope was that he was going to drop the ball about the time he left the line of scrimmage.
We spoke of a game full of excitement. Aaron Quinn with the point after. It's up, and it officially is good. It's a tied ball game. This is like a boxing match. You take a blow, I'll give a blow. You take a blow, I'll give you a bigger blow, Mark Gray. Talk of excitement. We could not have hyped this game up anymore. And there it is, the touchdown, the Albert Horsey. That's an easy MEA. See you later.
Yeah, a piece of cake. And there's somebody else who's, what do you think, Hampton fan or Delaware State fan?
Well, you see the red balloon, you have to think it's all about the Hornets. Regardless, we know all the Hornet fans are good-looking fans, as well as any fan of the MEAC. Play with the pom-pom, because you never know. You might be a cheerleader out there cheering for the Del State Hornets one day. And they grow up to look just like that. The pageantry and excitement of black college football. We've got the best of it on MEAC College Football Saturday. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, we've got both bands, the Hampton Band and the Delaware State Band, and our NUE halftime band show. So don't go away. If you like college football and the very best, we have it for you on MEAC. And look, next week, we'll be in Norfolk, Virginia, South Carolina State. Chad Edey and company taking on Norfolk State, and you know Coach Mo Forte will be there. And don't forget, October 14th, my birthday, we're going to Tallahassee. I'll be 42, but I'll be watching A&T and FAMU get their groove thing on. And then we're back in Norfolk one more time where we get a chance to hang out with your aunt and get some free food.
Oh, well, we're going to be hanging out with my folks a lot over the next 3 weeks. Let's see, we've got aunts in Norfolk. We've got grandma in Greensboro. I got my eye on that one.
It should be a lot of fun. Christopher Parker was on the return for the Pirates. He was brought down. We've got an exciting game. If you just missed it, it has been shifting tides, the ebb and flow of a football game full of excitement. Hampton has given its best. Delaware State has given its best. And the main players have done their thing. Now here's our Xerox first quarter stats. And look at that. The rushing yards tell the story for HU. All about Montrell Coley, 117 yards. He had 70 on one play. Cash throws up a duck and brought down by Deshane Dennis. It was a dying duck, and Deshane Dennis was right there to bring it down.
Cash is hurt. He's coming off holding his passing arm. I don't know if he banged his wrist or his elbow or his hand or something. There's a play-action fake on the half roll. He gets outside of the pocket. Oh, I guess he didn't get hit. That was just a poor throw. I mean, there's no excuse for that.
And Deshane Dennis was playing center field. I know Major League Baseball is played, and they're talking about the playoffs, but there he is, the young man that we spoke so highly of when we first came here, number 21 out of Wilmington, Delaware, the junior Deshane Dennis.
Well, it's be interesting to see what happened with Cash's wrist or something, because he came off shaking it and nobody touched him. That could be a devastating turn of events for the Pirates.
This is when Coach Glenn Blacknall's team wants to take over. They're at home. This is Alumni Stadium. It's Dover, Delaware. Matthews under center with a split backfield.
Where King had nobody leading the charge that time into the teeth of the Hampton defense. I don't think anybody was fooled on that.
Graylin King picks up about a yard on the play.
It'll be interesting to see if Delaware State can go for, or to attempt to go for a jugular here. I understand they're trying to establish some consistency with the rushing game, but they haven't really attacked Hampton via the air with the intensity that I thought they would go after their smaller cornerbacks.
To give this time on the end around to Tommy Mims. Mims on his feet. Mims short of a first down, about 2 yards short of a first down.
Mims is the one guy in this offense since they've changed that from the pro set to the wings and things, if you will, that has suffered a little bit more. He doesn't have a touchdown catch this season, but as you can see, his one touchdown that he does have is running the football. So his versatility has definitely been put to the fore this season, and that's hurt him as far as the passing game is concerned, but he's already got his mark in the DSU record book.
3rd and 3, ball on the 47-yard line for the Hornets. The give to King, and King gets a first down for the Hornets.
Well, you put a lot of pressure on your center and that left guard when you're in this wing T formation. And then you watch the second effort right here of King as he bounces outside, takes one shot, and just keeps the legs moving and leading forward, picks up the first down. So momentum has been drastically swinging in this game, where Delaware had it early in the first quarter. It was clearly on the Hampton sideline at the end of the first quarter. Now here we are at the beginning of the second quarter, and it's clearly back wearing red and white.
Ross and King in the backfield. They give once again to Graylin King. King gains about 5 yards on the play.
When they're in the wing T set, you just watch the center and the left guard. If they're getting surge, if they're dominating at the point of attack, then a back like King will be able to pick up yards.
Question for you. We mentioned Denarian McCants at the beginning of the game. I think he's been thrown to one time. What has been the problem, and what are the Pirates doing to make sure he doesn't touch the ball?
Nothing. It's just a difference in play calling, gamesmanship, in-game strategy. Maybe they're setting him up with the jab to go with the haymaker being McCants.
The give is to William Ross. He's brought down.
You know something, if I could make a major college analogy, Ronnie, it's almost like when Rashawn Matthews is running the option, it's like watching Rick Myra at Notre Dame trying to run the option. It's just not working. I mean, it really isn't. You know, this guy's a passer. Let him do what he does. If you're going to run an option play, then swing the passing play out to the flats to the running back. And you just look at this total offense right now. Delaware State getting it done largely via the air.
Matthews still on his feet. Matthews almost brought down. Matthews found the receiver across the middle. Albert Horsey. Horsey into the end zone. MEAC. Albert Horsey, 39-yard touchdown. And that time, Matthews found a way to stay on his feet. And he said, Mark Gray, you can talk about my running ability, but Mark Gray, I can scramble and find my man to get into the end zone.
That's what I'm talking about. Nothing designed here. This is freelancing, and he stays in the pocket. Passing lane taken away. Trouble in the grasp of 3 defenders, but has a presence of mind to find his receiver, Horsey, who definitely knows how to take it to the house.
He was diving into the house. Rashawn Matthews, 39-yard touchdown to Albert Horsey. The point after is up. It's good. Aaron Quinn, we're 21-14. The Hornets are putting a sting on the Pirates. Don't go away. It's MEAC College Football Saturday. MEAC College Football Saturday coming to you each and every Saturday. And we've got some exciting games coming your way next week. We're going to be in Norfolk, Virginia to see South Carolina State and Coach Willie Jeffries go up against the surprising Spartans and what Mo Forte has available. 21-14 is your score right now. We are in the second quarter of action, and yet it is exciting football. Aaron Quinn is set to kick off once again. And there to receive, Travis Coleman. Coleman picks up the ball at around about the 11. Coleman at around the 30-yard line, turning upfield. Coleman gives a little shoulder and says the business is about serving up the pain. So now coming out, we'll find out whether Mr. Cash is okay or not okay, because the last time he came out, he threw a big interception to the Shane Dennis. The Shane Dennis, that is.
And we do have a new quarterback in the lineup for Hampton University right now. It'll be Timothy Frazier, a freshman out of Baltimore's Poly High School, who's definitely thrown into the wolves right now.
Timothy Frazier is a young man who was a 4-year starter at Poly High School in Baltimore, Maryland. The give to Montrell Coley. Coley picks up maybe a yard on the play.
Case where Coley tried to shake, rattle, and roll and shook himself almost out of his shoes that time.
Now, see, I have one question for Timothy Frazier, the quarterback, and that is how many times at Poly did he beat City? See, there's a big high school rivalry in Baltimore, Poly and City.
Now, last I checked, Poly has been doing pretty well over the last 20 years or so.
And the last time I checked, Walbrook didn't have that good of a football team. But I'm only playing, Mark Gray, because I went to City, see? All right. We've got a second and 8.
Do they play football at Walbrook?
29, the ball is. Timothy Frazier with the give to Montrell Coley. Coley picks up maybe a yard at best on the play, and it seems like the Delaware State Hornet defense is pretty.
And now we got to look at Octavius Cash, he doesn't have his jersey or his shoulder pads on, and I don't know what happened, and I'm anxious to find out what's up, but they're putting some ice, and it's around the wrist area. Maybe, well, we're not going to hazard a guess. Doesn't look good, to say the least. And a huge blow for the offense at Hampton.
Timothy Frazier rushed into action. Frazier with a completion, and that is a first down to Zuriel Smith.
And a nice strike on his first pass coming off the bench to Zuriel Smith, who helps his young quarterback out here. I'm impressed with the poise that Frazier showed on his first pass in the pocket, standing there and delivering a confident pass, and it is a first down.
Well, the one thing about him is that he's 2 for 2 in the season, and here's a young man who comes out of a passing offense in high school at Polytechnic High School on Cold Spring Lane in Baltimore, Maryland. In the I formation, Crompton in motion. The give to Montrell Coley, but Montrell is worked back. However, he's still on his feet. Coley trying to look for yards. Coley's turning the corner. Coley, 1 yard short of a first down, turned nothing into something.
The little engine that does once again.
And the little engine that just won't stop.
I'm telling you.
He goes a chugging and a chugging along.
He stopped here. Look, this is a great play. Big number 66 for Delaware State. That would be David Carter. Had him in his grasp, and he lost him. And then Coley finds the Jets to go back the opposite way, and he picks up a first down. That's a phenomenal effort.
Did you see that? Shane Dennis is lucky they didn't call a face mask on that. Our cameras got it. The officials didn't see it.
This is Clement.
Clement on his feet, and that's a load to bring down, and that is a first down for Hampton once again.
They talk about thunder and lightning with the New York Giants in terms of Ron Dane and Tiki Barber. Here's your thunder and lightning in the MEAC tip right here.
Norman Clement.
Thunder. Look at him. Moving from the days of Johnny Unitas in the high tops, barreling into the secondary.
Is a big dude. I looked at his stat and I said 6 feet, 260. Take a look at that. Montrell Coley. He's only carried the ball 6 times. He has 106 yards. He's averaging almost 20 yards a carry at 17.6, and he's got the 1 touchdown. But if you want to go ahead and say, how did he do all of that? If you just missed the game in the start, he had a 70-yard run, and that was on a sweep. And this young man is very special. And the defensive coach is saying, hey, we got to come up with something to stop this guy. One thing we can do is take a break and take a breather. It's
maybe they'll find something else.
And Delaware State on MEAC College Football Saturday. If you're wondering about the future of Octavius Cash, there he is on the sideline. The ice on the shoulder. Obviously, he is disappointment and in some serious pain as he watches Timothy Frazier lead a drive for the Hampton Pirates as they need to get on the scoreboard again because the Hornets have the lead 21-14 in an exciting MEAC College Football Saturday game this Saturday afternoon out of Dover, Delaware. Timothy Frazier is the quarterback. The give. No, he keeps the ball. Play action. Timothy Frazier finds an intended receiver. Michael Compton. Touchdown. And down goes Frazier. 30-yard touchdown. Mike Compton. And this young man is exciting. You can lose a Cash and bring in a Frazier, and someone is ringing the bell. It is 21-20. The point after is about to go up for the Pirates of Hampton University.
A half roll play action. Great. Now, this is just a great field gentlemanship. His first TD pass of his career, but it was the play action fake that sold everybody. That's why the receiver was able to be wide open.
The kick is up. The kick is no good. And it's off by Paul Pavlik. We'll come back. It is 21-20. Delaware State still has the lead, only by a slim margin.
The Marines.
It's an exciting day of college football, as the Delaware State cheerleaders say. Keep it up, keep it up. 21-20. Delaware State has a slim lead because Hampton failed to convert on the point after. Tommy Mims on the return.
Well, the big plays of Delaware State and Hampton have been the story of this first half. This has been a track meet, and I tell you something, an offensive game like this is probably going to favor Delaware State. I'm not quite sure Hampton wants to keep the Jets going. They want a more consistent offensive attack.
I think it's too early even to think about who's going to win this football game. I think Frazier has shown us a talented freshman who Coach Joe Taylor said even from the beginning, this young man is going to be my starter in years to come. He's been forced into active duty, and he's performed well so far. And then, of course, when you speak of Mr. Matthews, McCants hasn't even gotten going. And you know Del State has a loaded amount of offense, so we should have a whole lot of fun. Let's go downstairs to George Johnson with more. George?
Gentlemen, an update on Octavius Cash is that he has a sprained shoulder. Will he be back? Well, that's still questionable. They've got to wait for the ice down. That may not happen until the end of halftime. So as to whether he's coming back or not, we don't know quite yet. Also, keep your eyes on that right offensive guard for Delaware State, number 70, Walter Gibbs. He had to be retaped. He planted himself wrong, and because of it, he sprained his ankle. But he says he feels fine. He should be okay. But he was hobbling somewhat. Watch the right side of that offensive line for Delaware State. Back up to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, George. We appreciate it. George Johnson, our sideline reporter, bringing us up to date on the Cash injury. And there's a possibility, according to George, Cash could come back. But one guy who's going up ahead, and that is a first down, Braylon King.
The misdirection trap play up the middle out of the wing T.
And that was William Ross, excuse me.
When it is executed to perfection, it leads to big plays like this. Look at the trap action that's going to open the hole up the middle and allows the back, Ross, to explode into the secondary and pick up another first down. I am so impressed with the ability of Delaware State at the point of attack to dominate at many instances the Hampton defensive front, something I haven't seen in about 4 years any team on any level do, and that would include the 1AA playoffs and the Heritage Bowl.
Del State has been mixing up pretty well, but this time the intended receiver was Albert Horsey, had the football and dropped it.
Sometimes Horsey can look so good, and then there are some plays like that, which was a little bit low, but you got to make that play to help your quarterback out. When you're the team that's trying to step up, trying to prove that you belong amongst the elite teams in the conference, you lead your school in receptions. That's supposed to be a can of corn.
I'll tell you what, he's caught more than he's ever dropped. Albert Horsey, number 1. Look at John Taylor, number 3. And Tommy Mims, not too bad. He's got 99 catches on the season. I tell you what, man, our crew continues to bring us all the great information. But this time, the stop was right there for those Pirates. And on the stop for the defense was Greg Scott, number 99, making sure that Mr. Horsey didn't go too far.
I think George was talking about one of the big guys up front having to have his
Walter Gibbs. He was talking about Walter Gibbs having to have his leg wrapped and retaped, and maybe that was of some fault.
I think he was just a half step late getting to his assignment, and that was just what the defender needed to stifle that play.
It'll be 3rd and 11, ball on the 49-yard line. Big third down conversion situation for the Hornets. And Matthews goes out to pass. Matthews has his receiver. However, it was too short for a first down. So therefore, Reggie Watkins and company will have to punt.
Wow, let's watch it again. It's again another situation where a receiver doesn't quite do a good job getting deep enough in his route to pick up the first down. He was putting a lot of burden on himself to rack up the first down yards, as in run after the catch. But Hampton wasn't having it in that case. So Hampton's defense does a good job. They had to step up in that situation because until that run play that went for naught, Delaware State was threatening to go up by more. Oh, the fake! It's King. King picks up the first down off the fake. Ben Blacknall, the longtime special teams coach at South Carolina State, takes great pride in stemming the tide with creative plays with the special teams, and the fake punt does work here. Watch, a direct snap to the up man, and he just hides. Great job by the punter to sell it, and then King is able to get off into the secondary and pick up the first down.
Little did Aaron Quinn know, the punter, that he was going to be taking theater 101 and doing a great job. He's got a passing grade, and we're not even at the midterm right now.
Indeed, a huge play. Feeling good about yourself, giving the team confidence, showing confidence in your team. The steps are building here in Dover for the Hornets.
And King still on his feet and doing the dirty work and picks up about 4 yards on the play. That play may come back to be a brilliant move when they look over the film and review it, when Coach Ben Blacknall says that was a good time to call that play, because for a defense as crafty, as smart, and as hard as the Pirates.
And there's big Walter Gibbs laboring with that bum ankle. He has been taped up, as George Johnson told us a few minutes ago, and be interesting to watch his matchup right now.
2nd and 5.
Boy, they set up a whole lot of different ways. That time Maurice Foster in there on the carry.
Maurice Foster, number 7, getting an opportunity to see some time to play and making sure he can make an impact for the Hornets. 4 minutes and 47 seconds to go just before halftime. The ball is on the 17. It is 1st and 10.
This could be McCants' time. We haven't called his name a lot in this half.
It's William Ross time. William Ross turning the corner. William Ross stopped at around the 6-yard line.
But let's see this flag.
You know, this was all set up by the special teams, and the reason why is that they got things going. But look at him there. William Ross, a supreme leader on this team.
Boy, I tell you, this kid can do it all, showing explosion to the outside, the ability to run up on the inside, but this play's coming back. A holding call, and boy, those are the kind of calls that can just kill a drive.
You know what? We had some great camera work by Don Harrison going around the end zone, and it's our crew, and sometimes you can say it so you can make friends with the crew. I have to tell you, each and every weekend, I'm amazed at some of the pictures that we're able to get and some of the things I'm able to see. MEAC College Football Saturday, each and every Saturday on this station. Make sure you look for us, because next week we got a humdinger and a bell ringer, because we've got Norfolk State.
A humdinger and bell ringer all in one.
Almost definitely, because South Carolina knows how to bring it. Coach Willie Jeffers, they can play some good football. And don't forget the 14th of October. What a game, down in Tallahassee. Matthews back to pass. Matthews going deep to McCants. And McCants cannot hold on to that one.
Well, you know,
he's bigger, taller, and stronger than the cornerbacks and the safety, but he wasn't able to bring it down.
Yeah, sometimes you can't put 4 arms where there are only 2 trying to haul it in. You knew it was about time for them to take a shot downfield at the big receiver, but he goes right running into his post pattern, into double coverage. That's an outstanding look, guys. Now I see why you guys in the truck are making the big bucks.
As if the checks come on time. Now it's time to continue to play. 2nd and 20. Ball on the 27-yard line. And this time Ross is the receiver. Ross caught the ball, would have may have gone for a first down, but he slipped and fell.
Jeff Braxton's having a great day calling plays. I mean, this one should have picked up the first down, but you got to like the way they stretched the defense on the previous play. Then they come right behind it with a play across the middle that was wide open if Ross is able to hold his feet. This is some creative offensive play calling and excellent execution at this point by Delaware State.
3rd and 20, ball from the 22-yard line. He's going deep. He found a receiver, but there on the defense for Oh, my goodness. Did you see Travis Coleman? Travis Coleman was huge. He was playing Tommy Mims, and he made sure he was not going to get that first down. That is textbook defensive coverage.
That's what you call playing the ball and not playing the receiver. He broke as soon as that ball was thrown, and he got there about the same time as the ball did to the receiver and was able to get the meat cleaver out and knock it down.
21-20 is our score. 3:19. This is Aaron Quinn going for the field goal. About 33 yards on this one. It's no good.
Looks like that golf shot you hit last week.
I tell you what, we'll come back with much more football action. MEAC College Football Saturday. The Hornets of Delaware State lead by 1, 21-20. Before halftime, Ronnie Duncan, Mark Gray, and George Johnson on the sideline. MEAC College Football Saturday, 21-20 is your score. Don't forget, for the latest on the MEAC, all you got to do is go to MEACsports.com on the internet, and you can find out all the latest details on each and every team playing in the MEAC, the current standings, who's leading in rushing, and if you want to find out, you can see him right now. It's Montrell Coley, who just ran about 3 yards, and he continues to be impressive here for his squad. And the guys looking on the sideline right now and a little dejected because they've looked at some opportunities go in their hand and come out. And I speak of the Hornets of Delaware State. But it is 2nd and 3. Ball on the 29-yard line.
If you're Del State, though, you still have to feel good about your position. It's like we're looking at a totally different team than we saw the first MEAC College Football Saturday this year. And I think Hampton might have taken a little bit too much time. That's one of those situations that comes about when you have a change in signal callers.
Replay, 2nd down.
Or a false start in that particular instance.
There you go, 5-yard penalty, so that's going to bring it back. That will make it 2nd and 9 with the ball on the 29-yard line. And don't forget our next 3 games. We've got South Carolina State at Norfolk State. That's next week. Then October 14th is North Carolina A&T at FAMU. And then the following week, we've got the Rattlers again, but this time they will be in Norfolk. 3 exciting weekends of football coming up on MEAC College Football 2000 right here on this station. Timothy Frazier still holding the ball. Timothy Frazier on his feet. Timothy Frazier gets knocked, gets rocked, but he did not want to go down. Frazier went down, and there on the hit was Richard Mason.
Ouch, baby.
No,
Mr. Frazier.
No, not ouch, baby. Ouch, ouch, baby.
Yeah, how about that? Ouch, ouch, baby. Let's check this out. This is Nat Sound coming up. 2 guys getting rather acquainted. Well, we don't have the sound here, but look at this introduction to each other. What a way to get to know your fellow competitor.
I can feel the pain. Frazier got a first down out of it. It was worth it. 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. Timothy Frazier is the quarterback. Frazier back to pass. Frazier scrambling. Frazier still on the move. Frazier turning the corner. Frazier on his feet. And Frazier was able to get about 2 yards on the play. And he was being trailed during the trailing, running him down. The big fella for the Hornets, Brandon Yarber.
Well, I think the equipment man in Hampton is going to have to run some hills or some wind sprints because we've seen a couple of guys just fall out of their shoes, and that was the case with Mr. Frazier right there.
Brandon Yarber's coming out of game right now. Big fella is bringing in Mr. Robert Benson because Robert Benson is number 99. See, big guys normally don't have to run around that much.
No.
And Brandon Yarber is like, you know what? If I ever get my hands on you, I'm going to hurt you son.
Sounds like a sprinter being interviewed by Jim Gray after the Olympics.
Okay, as Timothy Frazier gives off to Montrell Coley. Coley still on his feet, 1st down.
That's a play right there that will keep Montrell Coley playing on Sunday afternoons. Watch him just sit back there, wait for his quarterback to get him the ball, hauls it in, and then he just does work. I mean, he talked about wanting to play on Sunday afternoon. You make those short passes, take a 3-yard pass, turn it into a 12-yard game, you will play for 10, 12, 15 years as a specialist.
Less than a minute to go before halftime. You see Mr. Cash on the sideline. He would love to be out there, but right now, his understudy is playing the leading role. Timothy Frazier, quarterback. Compton in motion. Once again, showing all kinds of talent and all type of personnel. That was Colton Morat for the Pirates.
Well, you know something? The sweep has been just about indefensible all game long, at least through here nearing the end of the first half. I mean, the sweep plays have just been money all game long for Hampton to this point in the contest. But we saw a couple of weeks ago, Ronnie, when we were up here, Delaware State had almost a flawless first half. Then right at the end, it fell apart with a long touchdown. I'm anxious to see if the defense learned from that situation, if they can clamp down and keep Hampton out of the end zone, or if they will give up another gut-wrenching, touchdown at the end of the first half, which could open the door for Hampton to explode when we come out after the intermission.
MEAC College Football 2000 is produced by MyTeam.com Productions exclusively for the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference and is authorized outlets. Any use, reuse, or retransmission of this broadcast without the written consent of the MEAC Commissioner's Office is prohibited.
Let's go, D.
And the burden of proof is clearly on the defensive unit. And as far as Hampton is concerned right now, they've hung around. They're playing with their second-string quarterback. They get a score here and lead at the end of the half, they're going to feel real good about themselves.
It's time management right now. You see the timeouts, 2 for Hampton, 1 for Delaware State. Less than 30 seconds ago, just before halftime, that ball is up there, and Compton lets it go in his hands and out. That ball should have been caught. Despite the fact it stayed up there and had a lot of air, it should have been grabbed. Compton should have had it.
There are 2 defenders around him, Ronnie. Watch this. We talked about poise in the pocket and confident passes. This is the first really bad pass that the freshman has thrown, and maybe you're right. Maybe he should have caught that pass.
You know what? I don't know what football game you're watching, but the one I watched just shows you the replay. Yeah. Compton should have caught that pass.
Should have caught that pass.
21-20. 28 seconds left to go in the game. Frazier still on his feet. Frazier going for the first down. Frazier inside the 20 and around the 20-yard line. This young man has tremendous presence, and he knows when to get out of the starting gate.
Well, this is one of the plays that makes Cash such a dangerous quarterback. Looked like it was a quarterback draw. They just put the quarterback in a situation where he takes the snap, goes right up behind the center, and Timothy Frazier, just an outstanding job of field generalship, leading his team into a position right now where they can grab the lead at the end of the first half. A first half where, frankly, by HU standards, they have been outplayed. There's been a situation where the running game has been working for Delaware State. They've been able to get deep and make some things happen in the offensive front. But again, Hampton, a veteran championship caliber team, has given themselves an opportunity to steal the lead at the end of the first half. And I'm just wondering, will Delaware State be able to come back from an emotional blow like that?
I can tell you one thing. Timothy Frazier has impressed me.
Yes.
This young man has come into this game with nerves of steel. I mean, nothing has unnerved him.
Nope.
He was ready for this opportunity. He was sitting on that bench and saying, one day, one play could make the difference in my collegiate career.
But you know, sometimes when you don't have a week to prepare, you don't have a week to think about your first start, and sometimes it works out.
Look at Mr. Montreal Coley playing a little wide out. Man, they're bringing all stops. They're going with 5 receivers, and Timothy Frazier goes deep into the end zone, and there is a flag on the play.
Wonder did everybody report as an eligible receiver?
And the Delaware State players are clapping their hands.
Start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
That's always an indication when you see the opposing team clapping, because they know exactly what decision the officials have come to, and that was a costly penalty right now for the Pirates of Hampton University.
One of those situations where it's a snap count, a cadence type of thing. You know, offensive linemen are used to one type of snap count, one type of cadence from the quarterback, Octavius Cash, and in this situation with not a whole lot of time left and you're trying to make some things happen, little variations in the cadence might make offensive linemen jump, and that might have been the situation in that instance.
21 seconds just before halftime. Frazier out of the shotgun. Frazier finds Compton. Compton still on his feet, finally brought down, and they will possibly have to settle for an attempted field goal.
They've only got one timeout, so they burn it right here, and I think Now Hampton is going to talk about it. I mean, they definitely have time for 2 plays, but whatever they run is definitely going to have to be outside so that the receiver or the back can get out of bounds.
And it will be a 36-yard attempt on the field goal.
How big is this? How huge is it? Delaware State has basically dominated this half, but could be trailing if this kick is successful.
Tellis Bolden is your kicker.
And leg strength is not an issue with Mr. Bolden.
They've marked the ball. Let's see.
Loud ball!
39-yard field goal attempt by Tellis Bolden is what will be attempted here. This could be huge for HU. And it was low, and it was blocked.
So Del State at least dodges a first half bullet and will apparently go in at the half leading by a point, a game that should, by all rights be tied at 21.
There's a young man that recognized he could have taken momentum on his side into the locker room at halftime, but it won't be that way. Some crafty thinking and coaching and decision-making throughout this game, and some players have definitely stepped it up, one being Timothy Frazier, and the one player we have not heard a lot about in the first half, and I think has all types of pro potential, and that is Denarian McCants.
Well, if Delaware State has to feel real good about the position that they're in, given the fact that, their offense kind of bogged down at the end of the second quarter.
Let's go downstairs to George Johnson with more on today's game. George?
All right, thank you very much, Ben Black. Now, first half, the team has the 1-point lead. Talk about how you feel after that.
I feel very good. I think our team's played pretty well. We missed some opportunities, and we gave them a couple opportunities. But I think overall, I can't be nothing but very excited about being ahead this half.
Very quickly, we're sitting on the sideline. We see you with the special teams play. You get the fake kick right there. Is that from the old days when you were at South Carolina State? You pull that out of the back pocket?
Well, no, I think every team has a fake punt that they use, and we just figured out that was a good situation to use there.
Yes, you used it. Thank you very much, Coach. All right, good luck to you. Second half, that's Ben Black. Now back up to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, George. 21-20 is our score. It's a tight one. Hampton and Del State. MEAC College Football Saturday continues with the band show after this.
Saturday, George Johnson along with the head coach of Hampton University, Joe Taylor. Coach, first and foremost, Octavius Cash. What's his status right now? Will we see him?
Well, he says he wants to come back, but I think we better be smart. I'm very impressed with the way Tim Frazier has come in and moved the football team. But that's not our problem right now. Our problem is we got to tackle just a little bit better. And when we get in position to get scores, we're going to have to get some. We had a mixed extra point, missed field goal there. But don't take nothing away from Del State. They're doing a real fine job.
Coach, we know you like the scripture plays to start a football game out. As you come out in the second half, what kind of adjustments will we see from your club?
Well, maybe with the Cash being out, we'll probably run the ball just a little bit more. But like I said, Tim, to give him time, he can connect on it. And hopefully we can tackle a little bit better, George.
All right, listen, I appreciate your time. Good luck second half.
Thank you.
Head coach Joe Taylor of Hampton University. Let's go back up to the guys in the booth.
All right, George Johnson always asking the right questions at the right time, and that's why we are so happy to have you as a valued member of this crew. Ronnie Duncan along with Mark Gray providing play-by-play in color. George Johnson on the sideline, and we start off the second half of the football action. And Coleman still has the ball. Coleman still on his feet. Coleman finally brought down, and this time, Mark Gray, the Pirates of Hampton Institute and Hampton University have got to make some noise.
Yeah, those folks down there let you know it's no longer HI anymore. It's definitely HU. But the bottom line is Coach Taylor talks about running the football a little bit more. I'm telling you, with a guy like Montrell Coley, put the offense on his back and let him carry you places.
Hey, when you're looking for accommodations here in Dover, Delaware, the best place to go is the Best Western Galaxy Inn. Had a great time at 1700 Lebanon Road in Dover, Delaware. 302 is the area code. You saw the number. Give them a call. Montrell Coley.
And picking up right where he left off, Ronnie, the sweep play. It's an adjustment that Delaware State had to talk about at the halftime break. But again, they just don't have any answer when Hampton continues to run with the student body plays to the left or the right.
Can you imagine this guy has run the ball 10 times and already has over 120 yards in the game? Pretty impressive it is. That will make it a 2nd and 1. Ball on the 29-yard line for the Hampton University Pirates. And the quarterback still back there, Timothy Frazier, a true freshman out of Baltimore's Polytechnic High School. And he has this team under command. Clements with the ball. Clements carries around. First down. But he's brought down, and we'll see what the call is on that one.
Yeah, we'll have a hold, and that'll be against Hampton University, and this play's coming back. Anytime an official, the referee that is, throws the flag from his vantage point, he's looking for holding.
And the holding perhaps was Larry Vaughn. You see him there, number 66. He was doing a little holding, but you don't have to hold too much for Norman Clements because
replay 2nd down.
The big fella can push and load himself.
And he is battling right now with a bit of a bad ankle. So we'll be watching that story develop here in the second half. You look at Timothy Frazier, who has been so impressive with his poise and his demeanor and his command in his first opportunity up under center. And you get the feeling that, you know, coming from a passing high school offense and with his cerebral approach to the game, he'll be able to do some things.
All right, 2nd and 14. Frazier rolling out. Frazier finding a receiver. He's looking straight ahead for the big tight end. Frazier found his man, and that's what it's all about. This young man has tremendous poise. David Blunt was the big tight end, the freshman who can definitely play. Talk about great control. This young man's poise is what I'm impressed with.
This is field generalship. A solid play action fake, a half roll to the far side, and he has the tight end coming across the middle on a crossing route. And, I mean, that's just savvy. I mean, those are the things you just aren't born with. You know, those are things that are drilled into you time and time again.
You got to worry about the defensive adjustments in the second half for the Del State Hornets. They've got to go ahead and find somebody. Compton has the ball. He juggled it, but was able to bring it down, but there's a flag on the play. And if it's against the Pirates, you know Joe Taylor will be hot.
Boy, I tell you, finally with some semblance of offensive flow, we got illegal motion on Hampton. So mistakes by a young Hampton team that does know how to win big ball games continue to shoot them in the foot.
That flag was thrown on the side of
on the offense, 5-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
It'd be interesting to see that play one more time because that flag was thrown on the side of Montrell Coley. And Coley looked a bit upset in his body language as he hit it back upfield.
Well, there it is. He had the play that he wanted. That time your receiver goes up and he does haul it in. That was a tough catch. So now once again with a 3rd and 9, this is where Hampton is so effective, leading the MEAC in 3rd down conversions this season.
Frazier back, steps back up into the pocket, looks for an intended receiver, and once again, and that is a first down and concentration by Michael Compton.
Boy, Compton not only hauled this in after it was deflected, had the presence of mind to stay on his feet and continue to pick up yards.
But talk about the poise once again of Timothy Frazier. Jumps back into the pocket, and look at Compton. He keeps the ball. No one brought him down. He's able to get back up and get the first down. That could be one of the key plays in the game. Michael Compton, the junior wide receiver out of Woodbridge, Virginia.
And he's been around for some big games over the last couple of seasons, and that's just a veteran upper-class player stepping up and making a big play.
1st and 10, ball from the 41. Frazier back to pass. Frazier going deep. He found Zuriel Smith, and Zuriel Smith is up and going, and he was brought down. Mason was there for the tackle along with Deshane Dennis.
But that was a blown coverage. I think Dennis played him off looking for help on the inside, and the help just didn't get there, and that just relief. Watch it again. Isolated. Check it out right here. This is a receiver that goes down. He takes his shot, runs it. That's supposed to be a 2-deep zone. Somebody's supposed to rotate over from the center of the field, and that was just a blown coverage.
I tell you, Zuriel Smith had to wait for that when he was wide open. He's the split end, and this young man from Mechanicsville, Virginia, can get it done.
But give props to the quarterback for surveying the field and then picking out the receiver that was open.
Most definitely Mark Gray. 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Frazier with an impressive drive in the I formation. The Hampton University Pirates, and it's all about Montrell Coley, but he stopped, and he's hit hard. Number 95 for those Hornets.
I bet you we got another illegal motion on Hampton, or somebody lined up in the neutral zone. Yep. You could just see that the ball coming from the, I guess the field judge that time. No, check that. That was the head linesman.
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Wow, wow, wow. Greg Jackson, number 95, was the man who was able to sniff out that play on Montrell Coley.
Got a little bit of too much assistance from lining up in the neutral zone, but this is championship mettle right here. This is toughness. It's a clutch drive by a veteran, a contending team coming out at the head.
Ball on the 6-yard line. 1st and 5 for the first down. Compton in motion. Rolling the corner for the Pirates. Colton Morat.
And that's the first time that they've had an answer for the sweep all afternoon. I mean, you know, normally Hampton has done a great job of sealing people to the inside so that when the back gets out to the corner, he has a lane to the end zone. But that time, Colton Morat had no place to go when he got to the corner. And that's a solid job of stepping up. The corners and the linebackers play off their blocks and string that play to the outside. I think he wanted to cut back maybe 2 yards before he had to. That allowed the support to come up and stop the play.
We're in the 3rd quarter, 11:30 left, and that is Montrell Coley. Touchdown one more time.
Let him keep
a
the ball.
4-yard touchdown.
Let him keep the ball. Or does he get to keep the ball when he breaks the record? He just tied the record for most rushing touchdowns in the history of Hampton University. So congratulations to Montrell Coley, just adding more pages to the record book at HU.
And adding more yards to his performance so far today.
And this has been an adventure all afternoon for Hampton, but this one goes through.
Tellis Bolden with the point after. That gives Hampton the lead. Yes, it's the Pirates of Hampton University on top of Del State as they have come back. We've got much more action. 27-21 from Alumni Stadium in Dover. All right, we're back to live action. 27-21. It is the Hampton University Pirates on top. And here is our National Car Rental scoring drive, and it was a pretty one to see.
You're absolutely right. It starts with the quarterback, Frazier, going deep down the field, making a long connection, one of the longest of his brief career to this point. And then HU goes back to the ground. Mr. Montrell Coley taking it to the house. Hampton leads.
And that's our National Car Rental scoring drive. 6 plays. It was all about Coley getting the touchdown 4 yards out. Don't forget National Car Rental. Green means go. Now, George Johnson has been watching this game, and he has some insights. George, what do you think about the way things are going right now, and what does Delaware State need to do to get back into this game?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Talk to the Delaware State coaching staff on the defensive side of the football. They said what we've got to do in the second half is come out and pursue. We have to pick up our pursuit. We have to press them at the line of scrimmage. Didn't see much of that on that last drive. One play we saw that, but actually they let Montrell Coley pretty much have his way. But before I throw it back to you guys, are you kidding me? I am up here now in the Lyricist Lounge. You guys are doing the game on a couch? You got to be kidding me.
Well, Dennis Jones at Delaware State does an outstanding job at hospitality.
Yeah, I would say so.
Whether it's a phenomenal breakfast or giving us our own sofa, and Lord knows I need to lay down after a long weekend.
You got a
I
place
can
to
tell
lay.
you this much, George. The way things are set up in this press box, the bathroom is less than a foot from me. So if I've got to go, you can pick up and do the play-by-play, and I'll be back between, you know, business.
Let me tell you something. That bathroom's so close, you'll never miss a point.
2nd and 7 is the situation. Matthews is your quarterback, and there's a flag on the play. George, you know, it's been a lot of fun working with you, watching your work over the years, and I tell you what, man, there's nothing like
5-yard penalty, replay second down.
You see the penalty there, and that goes against Delaware State, but it's nothing like working with you. How much fun is it down there on the sidelines, being able to be that close to the action and recognize when the players are truly emotionally into a game of this magnitude? Because let's face it, no one thought that Delaware State could really hang with Hampton the way they have thus far, and it's 27-21, and Del State having the lead at halftime.
It's interesting because it's really been a roller coaster of emotions. In the beginning, they were very happy. They jumped on them. Then Hampton came right back, and you saw this look on their faces like, oh, we've been through this before. Then they go in the half, and they're feeling good about themselves. I'm going back down to see what they look like right now.
All right, 2nd and 12. And this was almost picked off. Coleman almost had it. The pass was intended for Mims, but Hosey, oh my goodness, was almost there. It was so huge. Coleman almost comes up with the interception. Mims, ball goes in and out. Wow.
Mims having a tough time getting catch number 100 for his career. I mean, you know, this is a guy that needed 3 catches coming in to reach the century mark. He got his first 2, but the last couple have gone off his fingertips.
All right, 3rd and 12, and Matthews has to come up huge here. Matthews gives the ball to Delaware McCants, and he drops it, Mark. I can't believe that one.
It's amazing how suddenly it appears that Delaware State's passing attack just seems to be a little bit out of sync, and it has a lot to do with the pressure that the Hampton defensive front is getting right now on Rashawn Matthews.
One of the questions, Delaware McCants had 3 touchdowns in 1 quarter last week, 5 touchdowns in 1 game. He is yet to see the end zone today.
I don't think he's got a reception. Does he have a reception?
He has 1 reception, if I can recall, which was very early in the game. Punting situation once again for Delaware State. Aaron Quinn is your punter. Travis Coleman set to receive. He picks it up across the 50, the 40. Coleman still on his feet. Coleman has the punter to beat. Coleman is hit. He drops the ball, and it's recovered by Hampton.
Boy, I tell you, it almost went lights out for Delaware State just a couple of seconds ago. Man, Coleman just took it up right into the teeth. Watch this right here. This is guts. He just put his head down, ran straight up the gut, dances to the outside, and it's off to the races right here. Give props to the punter for stringing this play out to allow the rest of the defenders to come along and haul him in. A gut check time for Delaware State's defense right here.
Coleman picks up about 2 yards on the play.
And George was talking about the pursuit. The pursuit that time was relentless by Delaware State, able to string that play to the outside until the linebackers were able to come back up on the inside and haul down number 4. But I'll just tell you something. Even though they're young, even though Hampton lost 22 lettermen from, back-to-back MEAC championship teams and Heritage Bowl championship team, there's a lot of poise still on that sideline. Look at the total offense right now. HU rolling up the yards.
And one of the reasons why the talented freshman, Timothy Frazier, they give to Montrell Crowley. That time, Montrell is met by big number, nasty, 90, up all in him, Brandon Yarber. Wow.
I think you just said it all, man. How can I follow that? Wow. Watch this right here. Playing off the block, coming straight up the middle. The hole was supposed to go through the B cap, and it was filled by big number 90. But to show you how tough Coley is, he won't let the big, almost 300-pounder bring him down.
I tell you, Yarber is a big, huge man.
That's a load.
Come Thanksgiving, don't ring my bell. 8 minutes in, 39 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Ball is on the 9-yard line.
And Hampton has to take a timeout.
All right, we'll take a timeout in the action. It's 27-21. Hampton leading.
Let's go, Steve. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
The emotion of Saturday afternoon. And the defense is on the spot for Delaware State. Frazier, what a debut.
Almost perfect. Almost perfect. 7 of 8.
Make it 8 and 9.
I was about to say it. Zuriel Smith on the reception. I'm sure there's some folks at HU saying, Timothy Frazier, where have you been?
He is just so confident back there, confident beyond his years. Doesn't he know he's a freshman? He's supposed to be a little upset. He's not even supposed to know where his dorm room is, much less completing passes on the road in a big game.
He knows one thing. The sports groove is watching him. That's Mark Gray, Ronnie Duncan, and George Johnson. MEAC College Football Saturday. Ball is on the 8-yard line. 8 to go, first down. Montrell. He got fumbled! And it's picked up by the Hornets.
Let's see. We got a major rugby scrum going on down here right now.
One of the few mistakes that you will ever see Montrell Coley make. And yes, it is Deshane Dennis, and he has the football, picking up the fumble recovery.
Wow. But we do have a flag down, so let's see what the call is.
We have a first down for Delaware State. After the play was over, we have a dead ball, personal foul on the defense. They'll be penalized half the distance to the goal line, first down.
Wow. Well, if you're going to do something bad, it's best to come up with the ball, and here we see it. Montrell Coley fumbling the football. He was hit by his own man, Norman Clement.
Yeah, Clement was the one who jarred the ball loose, and Deshane Dennis was Johnny on the spot. But you got to use your head in this situation. You've got the football. You don't have to prove anything to anybody else. Get off the field. So instead of, you were going to have the ball first and 10 at about the 5. Now it's first and 10 at about the 2 against the nasty, ornery, bigger defense. Hampton has put the ball on the turf twice this afternoon. Delaware State has yet to give it up.
Another flag on the play.
Delaware State just suddenly seems out of sync.
On the offense, half the distance to the goal line, first down.
How do you get a delay of game call when you're coming out on your first play of the possession after getting the fumble? There's some confusion there on the sidelines and on the field right now.
This one audibilizing, checking off at the line. First and 11.
And Mims may have fumbled. And from the
another loose scramble there. We'll see. They still have it.
Second down,
Still belongs to Delaware State. That'll be a second down.
Boy, there's some big-time head knocking going on. Here's a violent collision between two young men. Boom! Woo-hoo-wee! Talk about getting your helmet up under the face guard.
Vincent Lewis, number 19, he had 3 interceptions in the Heritage Bowl, and he's a hitter. He brings it. Second and 7. Ball on the 5-yard line. In and out.
Maybe. And now we've got a flag, a late flag coming in from one of the linemen, and let's see what the call is going to be.
It may be a flag on Nathan Brown, number 14.
Definitely was demonstrative after the flag went down. It'll be a personal foul, so Delaware State will keep the ball, it will move, and they will also get a huge first down, a mental mistake.
Delaware State
after the play was over, personal foul on the defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's a huge break and a huge mistake, and you know if there's one man that's upset, it's Joe Taylor about this aftermath.
Well, let's see where it is. We're looking for number 14. Maybe it was just a little bit late, but a spearing call, boy, it was touchy at best, but I guess you got to look out for the best interest of the players.
Look at the penalties. 8 for Hampton, 6 for Del State. But 28 yards, 62 yards.
Yeah.
Wow.
Braylon King in there on the carry that time. They're getting a lot of mileage out of their tandem of backs this afternoon.
That indeed they are. Number 22, Braylon King.
So Delaware State has remained committed to establishing some semblance of a rushing game all afternoon, and it's been working.
Second and 1.
And there's a fumble.
There's a fumble one more time. It's picked up. And in the end zone for Hampton is Vernon Woodson.
Wow, and that's just a demoralizing turn of events for Delaware State. They had the flow going. They had picked up positive yards, and I'm anxious to see what jarred the ball loose. It looked like a strip. It looked like in there on the strip for the Pirates, Henry Cornell. And then down the sidelines goes the big linebacker, Vernon Woodson, and on into the end zone. And suddenly, what was promising for Delaware State has turned ugly.
Ellis Bolden. The kick is up.
Speaking of ugly,
the kick is ugly.
There's going to be some special teams work going on in Hampton this week.
It's 33-21. Hampton has come on board, taking advantage of the mistakes of Del State. We'll come back with much more of MEAC College Football Saturday. And it was the 26th of September, a date that Coach Ben Blacknall will always remember. He turned 52 years old, and finally at the age of 52, he got his first head coaching job here at Del State this season after 28 years as an assistant coach in college football. 33-21 is our score. Delaware State taking on HU, Hampton University.
Well, now it's time for Mr. Rashawn Matthews to make something happen downfield. And I'm just wondering, when is Delaware State going to start taking some attempts at going vertically downfield with a guy like Darnarian McCants? So can Rashawn get it done on Rosh Hashanah?
We will see. It could be a blessing for him if he does.
It just may be.
1st and 10. That's the situation. Ball on the 20-yard line. Rashawn. He finds a receiver. And that's the big fella, William Ross. George is on the Hampton side of the football field. And George, what you got for us?
Well, I got to tell you, after that defense scored that touchdown, I looked over at Montrell Coley, and he gave me the biggest sigh of relief look that you'd ever seen a football player give. Obviously, he was feeling happy about the fact that that fumble didn't materialize into anything for Delaware State. I also pulled aside Timothy Frazier, the redshirt freshman quarterback. I said, "You a little nervous?" He says, "You're always nervous, but you got to stay ready." And that's how I felt I was coming into this game. I said, "So what's going on out there?" He goes, "It feels just like high school." Back up to you guys.
It was just like high school. He was a 4-year starter and a prolific passer at Polytechnic High School in Baltimore, Maryland. And this young man has shown no nerves. Call him Cool Hand Tim because he's looking cool today. 33-21 is the score. 3rd and 7. Ball on the 23-yard line. Matthews back to pass. Matthews finds Mr. King. And there's a flag on the play.
Boy, you've got a whole bunch of laundry coming up, and this flag is going to be a holding for a vertical suplex takedown, thanks to big number 79 for Delaware State. One of those players whose number is not on the roster. Let's watch it right here. This is something that would make Vince McMahon proud. Look at this. This is a great one. That's a quality takedown right there, man.
Funny situation once again for Aaron Quinn, set to receive for the Pirates. It's Colden. He picks it up at the 40, and he stays right there and calls for the fair catch.
So Hampton has really assumed the momentum and the flow of this game. I mean, they right now can literally put the mail on the back of number 4, put it into cruise control right now. Let's take a look at some of the big hits from this afternoon. Boom! Starts in the first quarter. There's a shot that Graylin King takes. Octavius Cash took a shot. Mr. Coley, he takes a shot in his own right. Nothing but love in the air on Saturday afternoons in the MEAC.
I tell you what, would they rather have the big hits or the big score? Because right now they're trailing 33-21 to Hampton.
It's amazing to watch the poise, and Hampton started with a couple of non-conference foes, such as New Hampshire, a tough team from the Atlantic 10, and then, of course, last week they had a tough independent 1AA squad, so they have been tested outside of the conference against some quality opponents, and I think that's paying big dividends for them, at least at this point in this game.
2nd and 7. Clements with the ball, turning the corner. If he picked up a yard, I'm being generous.
And you know something, George was talking about Delaware State defensive coaches wanting them to pursue. This is the relentless pursuit of number 6.
Other games played today in the MEAC. It'll be South Carolina State at Citadel. North Carolina A&T is taking on Norfolk State. Howard and FAMU play at 7, and in the Bahamas, the game we should have been doing, Morgan State taking on Bethune-Cookman later tonight at 7.
Well, one thing about it, you look at that Howard team. They're without Kevin Simmons now for the rest of the season. Not a pretty sight.
Howard back to pass. Timothy Frazier finds Zuriel Smith, and that's a heck of a reception. Zuriel Smith down at the 10-yard line, and that is a first down.
That was a big-time throw, too. Timothy Frazier sets up in the pocket and delivers a strike. And I'm going to tell you something. Smith helped his cornerback out in great detail, but watch this. Maybe a little push-off right there. Dennis is in good position. Talk about climbing the ladder and hauling it in. Zuriel Smith with a huge play. And Hampton all of a sudden is in a position right now where they're ready to go for the jugular after that 44-yard reception.
Wow. Once again, Timothy Frazier showing you why he's there at quarterback and why Coach Joe Taylor decided to stay with him in the second half. The give to Montrell Coley. Coley this time is stepped and be met before he could do anything, and Darlington was there.
Yeah, Kyrie Darlington had an outstanding performance in our first MEAC College Football Saturday game against Florida A&M, but by my unofficial recollection, that's about the first time we've called him his number. He was all over the place last time we were up here.
May not be the first time we've seen him, because there have been a lot of long passes made by Timothy as well as Mr. Cash earlier in this game. There he is, the leading rusher of the night. I'm talking Montrell Coley.
Well, I tell you, this guy has balance. You look at the things that Timothy Frazier is doing from the quarterback position. We've seen him sit in the pocket. We've seen him read coverages and survey the field. We've seen him throw deep downfield, and now we'll see him running the option. And he stumbled. He didn't really have a good handle on the ball, but he was still able to get down to the end of the line, make a solid pitch, and Coley was able to pick up good yards.
Now let's go on the sidelines and look at that. NUE. An NUE bandana.
You know something? We need to get some NUE swag. You know, the time is now.
There's Frazier looking to go to the end zone. And Frazier is a guy who has a lot of heart. That was the quarterback putting the pain, and the Delaware State player is still down. Frazier's got some tough skills. Watch it here. Busted play. On the play action, he's looking for a receiver. He has to run with it. Now watch what happens here. And look at that. Yarber is still down.
Wow. The big fella, I just think he might be a little bit exhausted right now. He's been chasing Coley and Frazier all over the field. And, boy, Joe Taylor has an eye for talent. I mean, when he says that he's got somebody laying in the cut who he feels confident about, oftentimes you hear coaches make remarks like that, and it's just lip service.
But you know what? It's good to know that we're seeing this young man and his coming out party right here on MEAC Football Saturday. MEAC Football Saturday. We're getting an opportunity to see him. We hope the best is there for Yarber. It looked like he may have twisted his back a little bit on the play. It wasn't so much the aftermath of the hit of Frazier. It was basically the way he turned on that play. And there you see it. The young man who's leading the afternoon in rushing, Montrell Coley.
averaging over 8 yards a carry on the afternoon.
141 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 17 carries. He's put up some career numbers, and this has been one of those highlight kind of games.
Well, when you're facing a team that is next to last in the conference against the rush, the ingredients are in place for a big game by one of the more talented backs in all of 1AA.
And when you're being seen by over 23 million households, that's why you perform well, too. Coley in the end zone, and it's MEAC. You later.
And it's also
touchdown.
It's also a historic touchdown. They should let him keep the football, as Montrell Coley is now the all-time leading touchdown scoring rusher in the history of Hampton University, and we'll watch this historic touchdown. Look at that big hole. I think you can get through that one, big fella.
I think I can, and I'm a little bigger than Mr. Coley.
Even with your 5'8" speed.
Oh, wow. Thanks a lot, Mark Gray. 39-21. Point after is up. And the point after is good. That makes it 40-21. Once again, the second half has been no friend to the DSU Hornets. Delaware State has simply fallen apart. The offense has gone AOW. Somebody find it, because it is missing in action.
Boy, I tell you, and you have to be just as disappointed as you are in watching the lack of offensive productivity by Delaware State. You have to be that impressed by Hampton's offensive flow here, especially in the second half. And let's go down to the field to talk to one of the newest members of Delaware State, who's with our George Johnson. George?
All right, thank you very much, fellas. Joining me right now is Greg Jackson, the new head coach for the men's basketball team at Delaware State. Congratulations on your appointment. You got some work ahead of you.
I think one of the things that we're trying to do here is to make sure that we come in and build a foundation and change attitudes. I think the direction that we're trying to go to take this program, there's a lot of work to do, but I think in time, 3 or 4 years down the road, I think this will be an outstanding basketball program.
Last week I had Frankie Allen, the new head basketball coach over at Howard University. Ask him the same question. What do you know about the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference? What do you know about succeeding in this conference?
Well, I've had the opportunity to work at North Carolina Central, and over the course of my 10 years there, we played A&T, and we had a lot of success against A&T. It's obvious that this is an outstanding conference, well coached, so I have my job cut out for me. But I think with the commitment of the university, we can take this program hopefully to another level.
You know, the way coaching is today, it's 365 days a year. You're always out there trying to find recruits, trying to put your game plans together, your team together. What do we got, Midnight Madness coming our way in just a couple of weeks?
Right now, we're basically trying to focus on who we have on the team. Hopefully we can have a Midnight Madness. I think it would be good for the players and also good for the student body and this community. We're trying to change the attitude of the community and the university toward their attitude to the men's basketball program. So I think something like Midnight Madness will be a contribution to the university that we can give.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Good luck to you this upcoming year.
Thank you.
Greg Jackson, the head coach at Delaware State University men's basketball, head coach. Now back up to the booth.
All right, thanks a lot, George, and we appreciate it. Getting some insight on Greg Jackson as he gets ready for his first season. Last week, we had Howard's new coach. This week, we've got Del State's new coach.
So we're saying there are a lot of new coaches in the league this year?
I tell you what, a lot of new and exciting coaches. As a matter of fact, when you look at Bethune-Cookman and what they have there, Horace is over there doing great things. You look at North Carolina A&T, they've got CJ. And they got
Coppin isn't
Curtis
going
Hunter.
anywhere.
And Flying Mitchell is still doing this thing, so MEAC college basketball is pretty hot and exciting. As Mim on the reception for the first down.
So there's a historic catch for Tommy Mims.
Now it's time to look at our National Car Rental scoring drive, and it's all about Mr. Coley, Montrell Coley. Well, it started with a nice 44-yard reception, and you see Zuriel Smith bringing it down. The pass there by Timothy Frazier, and that led to walking on into the end zone, coming to my house, Montrell Coley with his third touchdown of the day.
All-time leader in rushing touchdowns now at Hampton University.
That was our National Car Rental scoring drive. Remember, green means go with National Car Rental. Car 1-800-CAR-RENT or book online at www.nationalcar.com.
Wow, that's the first time that Mims was open in the secondary all afternoon, and Matthews couldn't get it to him.
You can talk about selection of plays. You can talk about the mere fact that Matthews has not been on point, but someone has to define to me why McCants has just been a name to utter at the beginning of this game, and there's nothing being done by McCants right now.
Well, he's lined up. Remember, this is a wing T type of set, so in a traditional offense, he would be playing tight end. The burden of his responsibility is basically to block on the edges, and he spent a lot more time blocking than he had as part of the passing attack this afternoon.
Once again, that's Mem, and he picks up about 4 yards on the play, finally brought out of bounds. And we're about to end the third quarter of this football game as we get ready to take you to the fourth quarter. It's 40-21 Hampton.
That's Mims, and effectively the wingback role. That's a role that, to me, was personified by Anthony Carter when he was at the University of Michigan. I mean,
see, that's the thing I like about college football. Take me back to the day you understand, so you're with your colleagues, your friends, your family, you're just having a good old time. Matthews back to pass. Matthews almost got hit, but Matthews was able to get the pass for the first down, and that was Albert Horsey, and he knew it once he saw it. That young man impresses me because he can go across the middle in a crossing pattern and catch the ball in traffic, and that's what I like about receivers, when you can catch it and the heat is on you. We're going to come back with much more action as we turn this thing around to the other side of the field. Hampton leads 40-21.
Big guys coming across the middle or on slant patterns are very difficult for Hampton's corners to cover.
And these are our Xerox stats through 3 quarters of football. And look at the rushing yards there, Hampton University. And it's all about time of possession, but Hampton has the lead, and it held at 21.18 seconds.
Both teams balanced offensively if you look at those numbers.
William Ross on the carry. Let's go downstairs to George Johnson with a little more. George?
Well, you know, last week I talked to Ben Blacknall about the come-from-behind victory that they had against Liberty last week. 18 points, they came back to get the win. Blacknall said it was something that this team had never experienced. In fact, he went into the record book, looked, and could not find the last time his team was able to mount a come-from-behind win. I asked one of the assistant coaches. He said the last time we came from behind to win was back in 1990 against Liberty. The come-from-behind win gave this team a brand-new attitude. They walked around with a special pep in their step. They were a lot more enthusiastic this week. They find themselves in the same situation as they were in last week against Liberty. See if they can mount yet another second straight comeback. Back up to you guys.
All right. You know, Ronnie, you talk about a team trying to grow up. It's been 5 years since Delaware State has won as many as 3 games in a row. This would have been the third one this afternoon. So it's a building process. So you talk about peps in your step and things of that nature. Delaware State, even if they're not able to pull this game out, has to do something positive to make a charge, or they lose all the momentum that they gained with a big victory last week.
Well, you just saw it visually. They got another first down, so they're trying to take those steps. And if you know Ben Blacknall, they're not about to give up. Opening minutes of the fourth quarter, and that's a touchdown, Albert Horsey. 27-yard touchdown, and that was Matthews to Horsey. And I told you they wouldn't give up, and they would strike early here in the fourth quarter, putting more points on the board. And I'm telling you, a turnover here or there, a great offensive series could get things rolling for Del State.
They've got the big play, quick strike offense. That was a post corner route, and a great job of separation by Horsey to get himself wide open to haul it in for the score.
The point is up after, and it's good. It is now looking like a real football game for Del State as they try to come back here. You see it, 40-28. The Hornets are about to put back the sting in this game. DSU met was in 1945. The final score then was 14-0 DSU. The last time they met, DSU was shut out as Hampton won it 21-0. But today, you can tell this is a far more exciting game with the score in the fourth quarter with 13:47 remaining, 40-28 HU.
And here comes the onside kick. You had a feeling that was coming. We were talking during the break. And it just didn't work for Delaware State.
But it gives excellent field position for Joe Taylor's HU.
Watch this. Jimmy Snooperfly Snooker from the top rope.
Snookerfly? What about Superfly?
Well, him too. Anyway.
I can tell you're not up on WWF. Why'd you just call it The Rock against The Undertaker?
There it is, man. I'm a WCW guy.
Okay.
Although I'm checking out the XFL.
Oh man, breaking tables and breaking backs. First and 10.
Is Delaware State's defensive front going to wear down? Do they have enough gas left in the tank for one last defensive stand?
One guy who's not wearing down, he picked up about 6 on that play, Montrell Coley. Just in case you need to know, October 7th, that's next week. We've got South Carolina State and Norfolk State. Chad Edey, Stephen Davis, and the whole crew getting down October 14th. What a game. North Carolina A&T and FAMU.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Those of you who haven't seen Monty Stevens, the receiver at South Carolina State, I think he's special.
Norman Clement with the ball. He picks up about 3 yards on the play. Making it 3rd and 1 with 47. I would say the ball is on.
And so you talk about one of those gut check stands right here. 3rd and 1 near midfield. You know Hampton is going to just put it in the hands of Montrell Coley. And it will be interesting to see if Delaware State has a hold left in them.
Ball is on the 49, 3rd and 1. Coley is back there along with Clement in the I formation. Compton in motion. Coley gets the first down and much more.
Boy, I tell you, that offensive front of Hampton is doing a marvelous job at the point of attack, just blasting people at this point, and such was the case on that last play. And as you can see, just look at the demeanor of the Delaware State defensive front right now. Hands on hips. They're a little fatigued. They have been pounded on since the end of intermission, and this is where it begins to start showing itself.
First and 10 from the 45-yard line. Frazier gives to Coley. Coley still on his feet. Coley picks up about 6 yards on the play.
And once again, a trap off the far side. Coley explodes. And wow, that is the former Miss Teen Delaware right there. That's somebody that could be the former Miss Teen Delaware. I guess oftentimes guys in the truck are overcome by the beauty of the shots. Our camera people are all over.
David Carter is on the sideline. Looks like he may have gotten the wind knocked out of him.
Let me throw this one out at you. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen, all season long, we've seen talented receivers. Well, it started with Nunnally and DeMar Bowe here, and we were impressed by McCants and Horsey and Tommy Mims. And here's a look at the injury that time. Maybe he just maybe just knocked himself out. Hopefully it's nothing more than the wind being knocked out of him. But you look at the receivers. We saw Kevin Simmons, whose season is over at Howard last week. Lester and Collins at Morgan. I mean, to me, is there any conference or any level that has as many big quality receivers as this one?
I tell you what, when you really look at it in the whole, I would say not. And they just need an opportunity to be seen. We'll come back with much more of this football action to MEAC College Football Saturday. And still, he is playing like he's been here before. Timothy Frazier, true freshman out of Baltimore, Maryland, Polytechnic High School, and he has been a pleasure to watch. I think he's only missed one pass so far today.
This is a kid that's still supposed to be carrying like the old sweatshirts of upperclassmen or something. He's out here leading the team.
Hey, 2nd and 4. Lemon tries to get the first down, but he'll be short.
With the internet and computers and all that, those kids, those dark kids, they just grow up so fast these days, don't they?
Oh, yeah, Mark, I know you put in your bid for your PlayStation 2. You know they're going to be waiting out. They probably got a new Mark Gray Sports Groove ESPN game. By the way, next time you're going to be on the radio is when? Monday?
Exactly.
Monday and Tuesday?
Monday overnight. Tuesday overnight.
You're going to talk about the MEAC on the radio on ESPN?
As much as I can.
There you go, my man, Mark Gray. 3rd and 1 is the situation. I formation for Hampton University.
Oh, man. He picked up the first.
This is up for a little measurement, but it looks like he has the first down, most definitely.
He got the first down, but he paid for it. I tell you, man, Montrell Coley, it's just his stamina amazes me. And the shots that he takes, I mean, here in the 4th quarter, almost 200 yards, he's still delivering bazookas.
Now, the big play receiver has been Zuriel Smith. The other big play receiver has been Compton. However, Coach Joe Taylor's looking at the sideline and running time off the clock by simply running the football.
Well, he's got an advantage. He's got a big, massive offensive front.
And that's what you do.
And he's also, let's be frank, Delaware State's run-stopping defense is not very good. And it reflects a great game strategy to, at this point, just give it to the senior and let him carry you to victory.
Whoa, inches. Well, the offense appears to be staying on the football field.
Well, if you're Hampton, you have to go.
And if you're Joe Taylor, you know you go.
No doubt about that.
Say you got to go, Joe.
You got to go,
Say
Joe.
you got to, Joe. And there's a possibility for a play-action pass as well. Great insight.
Well, I'm looking for him to just line it up and pound right now. You know, no sense in getting jiggy. You know, the clock is your biggest ally right now.
Jiggy?
Yeah, that's an urban colloquial term.
And Coley with the first down, and he gets jiggy with it.
Right off tackle and right into basically the secondary of Delaware State. And we've got a ailing lineman down on the field for the Pirates right now.
Now here's our Greyhound quick facts. Delaware State founded in 1891. The enrollment, 3,600. The Hornets, red and blue. They joined the MEAC in 1970.
Charter member.
Yeah. Today is a very special day because it's my wife's birthday. But before I met her at Morgan State, she was a student of Delaware State.
Get out.
The former Yvonne Griffin, now Yvonne Duncan.
So you used to make that. Used to make that run up here back in the day.
No, see, I didn't know her back then.
Oh, okay.
See, those were the days of Eddie Epps and Yvonne Duncan. I don't know anything about that. I didn't know her. My name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. But she came to Morgan. I swept her off her feet, and we've been happy ever since.
Now, are you sure?
19 years. 19
you weren't
years,
swept off your feet?
Oh, bro, you know I was.
Okay.
Pull up to the bumper, baby.
And there's some guys that are going to be pulling up. Oh, and that's not a good sign. See the big offensive lineman Eric Steiner, the sophomore out of Fort Washington, Maryland, DC. He is going off, and he is limping right now. Really hate to see that with anybody. Especially with the Pirates comfortably up by 12.
All right, 40-28 is your score. 10 minutes left to go in the game. Frazier, calm, cool, and collected, gives to Montrell. Montrell still trying to run, but Mr. Mason and crew were right there, and they were making sure that Montrell didn't go too far. Robert Bennett was also on the tackle.
Well, when you get the Delaware State highlight reel together, put that one near the top of the reel, because that's one of the few times that Montrell Coley has been stopped behind the line of scrimmage and has not fallen forward or bounced off a tackle to pick up some more significant yardage. And he's got to be coming up on the 2-century mark here shortly.
Well, he's putting up big numbers. And you see, NUE is all over the place.
Where's my NUE
One of
swag?
our carriers. I'm sure after you pleading and begging for it over the air, you'll have one next week.
Exactly.
Clement goes for the first down. The big load, the big man, hard to bring down. 260 is the tonnage on that young man.
Well, the folks in Hampton will hate me for saying this, but this is reminiscent of what we saw in the 4th quarter last week at Howard, where the Bison just pounded on Morgan into submission with nothing more than running plays.
They didn't give him the great spot. As a matter of fact, it'll be 3rd and 1. And Del State's hopes are going up in the air, even though those aren't the Del State colors on the balloon.
Close enough. There's a little bit of blue in there.
They are padded blue, though.
Yeah, that's right.
So they're getting the blues. First down. He's got it.
That's why I love this guy, man. He just went into the pile, and the pile just kept moving back. Amazing. And maybe just a little bit of frustration starting to set in. Otto Polk in there on the stop. Polk, one of those guys who, well, check that as Kahari Darlington in there on the stop, man. But only the second time that we've called his name this afternoon. It's a clutch drive right here by Hampton.
1st and 10, ball on the 21-yard line.
Kind of drive
in motion. The give to Coley. He picks up maybe a yard or 2 on the play.
Is there anybody that can bring Montrell Coley down in this conference on the initial shock? I mean, every time. I mean, it takes a second or a third defender to come up and stop him every single time. And I'm supposed to believe that he's nicked up coming into this game. He's about to put up 2 C notes.
I tell you what I am impressed about is that when this young man is healthy, he's huge. All right, Coley lined up in the slot.
And nobody's on him.
Compton in motion. The give is to Clement. Clement trying to move ahead to forge for a first down. He'll be about 2 yards short. But the big fella continues to move, and the clock continues to burn.
Nice balance, you know. He's just picked up right for the graduated Mike Jones and just keeps it moving.
You know, it's amazing when you look at what has happened to Hampton. Defensively, they have shut things down primarily in the second half. And remember, there was a guy here a year ago, Dion Hunt, who was a monster.
Oh, was he? He was a monster for a good 3 or 4 years at Hampton.
And the new monster is Michael Blank. He can get the job done. And there he is, looking for his blockers. Timothy Frazier. Frazier in the end zone, touchdown. And that's a 16-yard touchdown. Timothy Frazier is showing me, freshman or not, he's the new quarterback at HU.
Well, this kid could, I tell you right now, he gets my vote for MEAC Rookie of the Week. I mean, to come off the bench with your team struggling offensively and just field general your team so effectively all game long. Naked boot, he gets around the corner. There's nobody there until it's too late. He's already in the house.
And I like the way he accepts the punishment.
Doesn't back down at all.
He doesn't. He goes right through. And that's the point after, and it's good. And we've got a football game that's saying nothing but HU all the way. You see him on the touchdown. I'm talking Timothy Frazier. We'll come back with much more action. 47-28, Hampton. We're back. 6 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in this football game. 47-28. Hampton has the big lead. Delaware State looked promising. 21 points they put on the board in the first half. Left with a halftime lead, but since that time, they've only put on 8. And Hampton has put on 28 points, 27 points since that time.
Braylon King
now it's time. I'm sorry. Now it's time to look at our National Car Rental scoring drive. And it was a scoring drive with plenty of running. Montrell Coley moving the ball, getting yards for first downs. And then it's a 16-yard bootleg naked run by Timothy Frazier, the quarterback. And that is our National Car Rental scoring drive. Remember, green means go with National Car Rental. Call 1-800-CAR-RENT or book online at nationalcar.com.
Congratulations to Tommy Mims. Finally with his 100th career catch. Now firmly establishing himself in #2 spot all time here at Del State.
You know, strange things have happened, but there's 6 minutes left to go in this football game. Delaware State has got to put it up now or put it up often. And McCants is a young man's name I'd like to see.
And there he is. Tommy Mims at 101 catches now, second place all time. So Horsey and Mims are now officially the most prolific pass receiving combo in the history of DSU.
And that time, Matthews found a way to escape from big-time disaster. Call Mr. Matthews Houdini on that play.
Indeed. just think about it. Matthews is slowly but surely creeping up the record books here in the MEAC as well. I mean, 3 more touchdown passes. Well, check that. 1 more TD pass, and he's tied it for second place all time in the history of the MEAC. Nobody's going to catch Ted White.
You know, Ted White has 336 pass completions coming into today's game. Matthews had 456.
Yeah, but 92 touchdown passes for Ted White. 92. Now, Ted White, with all due respect to everybody at Howard, he didn't have a receiver his last year or offensive line. He could have easily gone into triple digits had he had any support his senior year. So when you look at guys that are below him right now, you speak glowingly, but everybody has to bow down to Ted White.
Bow down. 3rd and 14 is the situation. Biting down and trying to get on the scoreboard right now. Hassan Matthews. Hassan finds a receiver. Completed pass. However, it won't be enough for a first down.
Seems like Delaware State was moving a lot quicker when it was a closer game. Even with their no-huddle set, they were a lot quicker and crisper in running what they wanted to run.
That was Tommy Mims on the reception. That'll make it 4th and 9. Ball on the 44-yard line. And time is not in the Hornets' favor. But this time going up deep and finding a receiver, and it's all good. Albert Horsey.
Horsey, what a catch. I mean, effectively, he was triple teamed that time. You had 2 defenders and the sideline, and he's still able to make the catch.
And he didn't care. Oh, and look at that. Grab my shirt, and I'll still catch the ball. Get out of my face. I'm talking to you all.
That's just quality stuff, man. Wow, too little and too late, but give him props for an outstanding catch. That's why he's the all-time leading receiver in Del State history.
4 minutes, 16 seconds left to go in this game. 1st and 10. Ball on the 21-yard line. Matthews looking back. The left-hander is on the move. The left-hander finds a receiver, and it's incomplete. Pass was intended for William Ross.
Well, that's the disadvantage of a lefty on that particular play. If he's a right-handed quarterback, it's easier for him to swing around and to escape and to fire that pass in there with some velocity and some accuracy. That time being a lefty just didn't work out for him.
Once again, as always, pleasure working with one of the best color analysts in the business, Mark Gray, the man on the sidelines. George Johnson continues to do a stellar job. As I whistle, I work and try to learn with the best of. Tommy Mims, pass incomplete, intended receiver. Clock winding down, 4:05 left to go in this game. 47-28. Hampton put it on in the second half. That's the story of the game, and it is all about Timothy Frazier, the leader for the next 4 seasons, I would say, at Hampton.
Are you invoking the quarterback controversy card?
There's no controversy when you look this good on your first day at the big dance, baby. He has taken the date, and you will not be able to get it back unless she drops it herself.
Does he? So you're just, what, are you putting the cash up? Effectively putting the cash in the bank? You're going to let it sit there?
At this point with the shoulder, it's no sufficient funds.
Oh, wow. Wow. Closing the account already, are we? Man.
Put it this way, they ain't collecting interest on the bench.
Man. You sure you didn't work on Wall Street in the earlier life or something? It's a bear market up here. Huh?
No, in all respect to Mr. Cash, it's unfortunate of the injury that he has received, but you have to be impressed with Timothy Frazier. And let's face it, these are young men who are college players and not professional players, and basically not making light of the situation. You basically have to have nothing but love for what you're seeing from Timothy Frazier. But it gives Hampton a very, very explosive and deep team when it comes to the quarterback. Anytime you can bring a kid like this off the bench, because let's face it, Cash was looking very impressive during the time he was in the game until he threw that one interception to Deshane Dennis, and you could tell something was wrong by the way the ball went up in the air. And I'm not backing down on the fact that Timothy Frazier has looked so impressive here today. All I'm saying is that he has stepped up and played extremely well at a very difficult time when Coach Joe Taylor needed him, and it's going to be very hard to let this young man sit down and even have cash play. But when you can have two problems that are that good, that's two good problems to have.
Exactly. I mean, you definitely want to make sure that, you know, he finds his way to get some reps. You also want to make sure that he stays sharp, but, you know, kid's been in the program 3 years. He's learned from the best.
And he had to sit. He had to sit and wait his time. Let's face it, you had Roy Johnson out there, and now this is his time. And I know this has got to be sad for him because all he wanted to do was an opportunity to play and to be impressive. And right now, this could be another major setback.
Talk about being set back. That's exactly what happened to Montrell Coley on that play.
All right, 3 minutes and counting. And it's 47-28. Hampton with the lead. A lot of great things happening on campus here at Delaware State, especially tonight. And coming up a little bit later, we're going to be talking to a familiar face. At least George Johnson will be. And I'm talking back in those days of WKRP. Right. And of course, a series that is
one of my radio idols, Venus Flytrap. Yes.
Timothy, Mr. Reed. All right, Nate Clement with another first down.
Let's be real. You always wanted to flip the mic switch and go, my children, and hit the gong behind you, didn't you?
No.
Yeah, you did.
See, you got to realize.
I know you did.
I was doing radio when you were in diapers.
Probably. No. Actually, I was on Formula when you were doing radio.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to let you know.
As a matter of fact, you're still on Formula now while you're doing TV.
Most of the time. We haven't figured out the formula yet.
Now, talk about that excitement. We're going to be talking with Tim Reed. It'll be George Johnson and him coming up right after this play. 2:18 left to go. 1st and 10. Ball on the 35-yard line. Hampton in the I formation. They give to Montrell Coley. Montrell Coley on his feet. I think I've got another one. It's going to be, it could be MEAC you later, baby.
And you got to love it. I mean, he just blasted through there. And the most impressive thing is that after all the pounding he's taken, after all the nicks and the shots that he's taken, in the 4th quarter, he still has the Jets to go almost 60 yards.
65 yards on the play, and when you look at his numbers, they have got to be huge. If we can, let's get some numbers on this kid, because I'm talking Montrell Coley is huge. 20 carries, 231 yards. That a 65-yard touchdown. Tell me he ain't trying to do something here. We've got a good replay for you here. Montrell Coley, and you know what? Deshane Dennis, one of the fastest men out there, couldn't catch him from behind.
Well, I tell you something, Montrell Coley is a swift one.
Now let's go to George Johnson, who's got another star in the waiting. George?
All right, thank you very much. Gives me great pleasure right now to introduce to you folks Tim Reed, who's here in the football game in the house and up here in Dover.
Yes, up here in Dover. I'm sort of on mixed emotions. You know, my daughter graduated from Hampton, but I'm here tonight to help with raising some funds for this college here. We're showing a movie here tonight.
Which is something that you do all the time. Yes. From Norfolk State University. It seems as if you've taken an interest in the historical black colleges.
I am where I am today because of having the opportunity to go to school at Norfolk State University. So for the last 10, 12 years, I've always been involved. So because we own our film and we control it, we're able to use it occasionally as a fundraiser. We've done it about 3 or 4 times so far in the past few months, and so we chose Delaware State.
You love the film industry, obviously, having been a part of it all your life, and it seems as if you want to get other folks involved. Got a studio now in Petersburg, Virginia, right. Things of that nature.
Yeah, you're trying to open it up. I mean, when you say you're going to be an independent filmmaker, you know, it means just that. You have to be independent, self-sufficient. So we built the studio in Petersburg, Virginia, and we're trying to involve as many people on the East Coast as possible to come down, to shoot there, to work there, to be involved in what we're doing. We're getting a lot of young people from the historical black colleges coming down and interning, and some of them now working in the industry. So in the last 3 years, I'm very proud of what we've done so far.
Advice you give these youngsters, especially the ones in film right now, juniors, sophomores in college?
Passion.
passion. Young people don't have enough passion. They always want to keep it real. Forget real. Be passionate. Be now.
Hey, Mark Gray's over there. He's a radio man. He figures you can give him advice on being a radio man. I don't know where he got that from.
I retired from radio. I put my hair and my earring down and went into television.
Talk a little bit about Asunder very quickly, because a lot of us haven't seen it, and it's a great movie.
Yeah, it is a wonderful movie. It's starring Blair Underwood, Michael Beach, and Debbie Morgan. As a matter of fact, Michael Beach has come down to be with us tonight. And it's a psychological thriller for adults, and it is they say it's a cross between Waiting to Exhale meets Fatal Attraction.
That you want to see. Last question, looking at this football game, you want to give me an analysis real quickly before I send it back to the guys?
Well, we're just on the Delaware side, we're in our tears. On the Hampton side, my daughter's very happy.
Yeah, he's just going right down the middle. Thank you very much. Tim Reed, back up to you guys.
My man Venus, you hung up? Oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Venus is no more. Oh, my idols are leaving me now.
Yeah, it's just like the big afro has left you, and you know when hair leaves you. Hey, that's okay. I tell you what, Montrell Coley has had one heck of a game. Second career 200 game. His first was against Morgan State when he had 233 yards back in 1998. It is 54-28. All about the Hampton U Pirates.
Boy, you can make the argument that
Now it's time to look at our Marine Corps players of the game. And who do you pick, Mark? I don't think it's going to be very hard, especially on one side of the ball. And I'm talking about Hampton University, over 200 yards, Montrell Coley. And then on the other side, you've got Mr. Matthews, Rashawn Matthews.
Well, it hasn't been exactly the day that Matthews wanted, but, you know, you give Hampton's offensive player of the game to Montrell Coley. But I tell you something, you got to put a star next to the performance of Timothy Frazier coming off the bench. If we've learned anything about Hampton, is that they are deep at the quarterback position. And this Pirate team will be a force in the MEAC before all is said and done.
Braylon King didn't want to give up in one place. I'm sure that anytime you're in Dover, Delaware, you want to stay at the Best Western Galaxy Inn. The number there is 302-735-4700. That's 302-735-4700, 1700 Lebanon Road, and Dover, Delaware. The Galaxy Inn, Best Western. And you know what? Had a great night.
Yes. Lock the doors and bar the windows. The MEAC Game of the Week. It's on its way to Norfolk next week.
Oh, we're going to tear up something special down there. Look out for the waterfront. Don't forget, coming up, we will have a post-game show of today's action. I'm sure we're going to be talking with Montrell Coley. Final score, 54-28, as it was all about Hampton the second half. Mark, you talk about domination in performance. They were losing at halftime by 21-20. And they come back with 34 points against just 7 that is, for the Hornets. So it's all about Hampton winning 54-28, and you have to be impressed with 34 points in the second half after scoring 20 in the first.
Well, you know something, Ronnie? When you look at everything in the mix right now, it was a step-up game for Delaware State. I think we realized that Delaware State isn't quite ready to step up to the upper echelon. As far as Hampton is concerned, they are a team that is going to be a force down the stretch in the MEAC race. We'll be back to close the book on this one. It has been a Hampton day in Dover. Stay with us.
In part by USPS, Nike, Xerox, Target, Coca-Cola, U.S. Marine Corps, New Urban Entertainment, Greyhound, Whitnauer, National Car Rental, and U.S. Airways.
A game that lived up to all the advanced hype. The pretenders against the contenders. And we found out that the contenders may be all about those Hampton University Pirates winning 54-28. And you talk about being about the truth, being about it and about it, Montrell Coley. And the stats don't lie, because all you have to do is look at net yards rushing 356 yards. And now Xerox final stats. That's the entire game. DSU 160. And then passing, look at that, 281. Tell me the freshman ain't got an arm.
You're talking about over 600 yards of total offense for a Hampton team that really, I think, turned a corner this afternoon. Not that Delaware State is one of those teams that you're going to have to fight off in terms of competing for a championship, but Hampton had to grow up and learn a lot about themselves, facing some adversity on the road. They had been at home for about like 2 of the first 3 times that we've seen all season, and Joe Taylor has to feel good. He told me before the game, I think we got ourselves a pretty good team. I think what we're going to learn right now is how good we can be. Hampton may not know how good they're going to be, but I think they found out a great deal about themselves on the road in the conference against a tough team today.
The thing about it is that Delaware State is very tough. We're going to come back and chat with Joe Taylor right after this. Final score once again, Hampton winning 54-28 over Del State. Putting it on, Joe Taylor's up next.
He comes away with the victory over Delaware State. Joining me right now is the running back for the Hampton Pirates, Montrell Coley. Montrell, you really have been putting together a pretty good year here. This ball game, though, especially, seemed as if the offensive line was doing their job and you were finding the holes.
Basically, the offensive line came out. They did a great job. Finding the holes aren't hard when they're big as they were. We came out. We had a few mistakes, but as it went on, we picked it up.
Were you surprised about the effort of Timothy Frazier when he came into the ball game? When Cash went down, you had to be thinking, boy, where do we go from here?
In practice, Tim really shows that he can play. We did feel a little down a little bit, since Cash went down. But Tim came in, stepped it up, played hard, and actually he came out and did very well.
This is really a dream offense, I would assume, for any tailback, because when they come out on the field, the objective of Joe Taylor is to get the ball to you and make sure that you produce.
Coach Taylor has a lot of confidence in me, and that mainly comes from me having confidence in myself. I feel that, this team is based a little off the run, whether I'm in or Travis Hales is in or any other one of the backs is in. It's really based off the run first, pass second. And basically we just come out to get our job done.
How do you get in the end zone so often?
I really don't know how to explain it much, but before I get the ball, I read the linebackers, and when I'm going to get the ball, I read where the linebackers are going and where they're coming from. It's real quick reads, and I just take it from there.
Well, Montrell, you're having a fantastic year. Keep it going, okay?
Thank you.
Montrell Coley, the running back of Hampton. Now let me call in the head coach of Hampton University, Joe Taylor. And Joe, absolutely phenomenal day for Montrell Coley, but that's becoming commonplace. And I read somewhere where he came in at the beginning of the season, he was a little overweight, and you told me about that, but boy, it hasn't affected his running at all.
Well, he's still powerful, he's still quick, but probably about 10 pounds overweight when he came in, and he's worked to get it down. We have helped him in terms of practice and giving him extra turns. Now, I don't know how many he got today in terms of number of carries and yardage, but last week it was 36 carries and 163 yards, and that'll help get to that, the weight back in the right place. But we knew coming into the season that certainly he was our workhorse, and he was going to have to be a step-up guy, and he hasn't disappointed us.
The guys up in the booth, they've already started it, Coach. We're going to start talking about it when you get back to Norfolk. You might have a little quarterback controversy brewing right here. You got a guy named Timmy Frazier who came off the bench and was absolutely outstanding.
Well, Tim, this is his second year. He was a redshirt last year. He's been waiting just like Cash did. He's a 3.8 biology major, so he has some substance between the ears. And we felt like the plays were in place, and he does get reps in practice. And I'm just so proud of the way he stepped in and, really did a fine job.
Very quickly, Coach, now your team is starting to pick up steam. You've gotten some wins under your belt. You're on a streak right now. How do you feel as you start to head into the second half of the season?
Well, coming into the season, we knew that September we had 5 real tough ball games. And tough not so much, anything extra, but except that we were inexperienced. We knew we had talent, but 22 guys that graduated were the ones playing last year. So these guys had not had any on-field, on-the-job training. But we've had some real good competition. Because of that, we've grown up some, and of course to be 4-1 coming out of September, I'm you know, we still have our fate in our own hands.
Well, listen, I wish you luck for the rest of the season. I'll see you soon.
All right.
All right, Joe Taylor, the head coach at Hampton University. Let's take it on back up to the booth right now. But these guys having a lot of fun. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, George, way to go. 54-28. We'll come back with some closing comments on this game. This is it. MEAC College Football Saturday. We'll see you again next week. South Carolina State in Norfolk. And stay tuned with us. For Mark Gray, I'm Ronnie Duncan. And for George Johnson, take care, everybody. God bless. Final score 54-28.
Peace.
I believe this is yours.
Oh dear, my finishing touch. Oh no.
Grab a hold of that thing before it...